Merry Christmas everyone on the Movemates channel. This is a bit of a surprise because Callum and I are finally back to our best. We're in person again and I'm super stoked for it, mate. We've actually got a proper setup.
This is infinitely more awkward than I thought. Like, I mean,
it is, isn't it?
I did not realise you'd started recording. I knew you'd started recording the camera, so I was a bit tuned out and then just screaming.
See, I don't know whether to look at the camera or look at you, mix of both. I don't know what's more
like a Morgs video. I
yeah, but yeah, I'm super stoked for today because it's a Christmas special. We've got the Christmas jumpers on, we've got Gremlins, Guardians of the Galaxy, we've got the Christmas table, we've got presents for ourselves, we've got the Gremlins mug, everything's going good, and this is, of course, will come out on Christmas Day, so super stoked for that. It's been a while since we've recorded in person. It's been nearly a year.
Yeah.
Really. I think the last one was what, like superhero film pitches? Oh no, maybe it's like Birds of Prey.
Maybe was it the Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah,
video?
I think so.
I think that was definitely the last film we saw together in the cinema.
It was.
And then I think it was the last thing we recorded right here in my bedroom.
I know, we're back where we belong. Absolutely, back where we belong. And Callum's bit, we've got posters up here. It's looking awesome. I'm so excited. You probably guys can tell. I'm super stoked. And
I'm not used to. Like, this is the first thing I've recorded on a camera.
Yes,
and I imagine I look awkward doing so.
Sure, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah,
and
usually on the Zoom calls, my weird behaviours are cut off because I do them while you're speaking.
I find it quite strange, like talking to you on a podcast in person. It's quite strange. Like usually, I look away from it.
Like, I know you're using your podcast voice. You're screaming at me. You're like bantering to the viewers, but looking at me like it's.
I know
I'm not used to it.
No, it's strange, but like it's good to be back. But yes, just before we kick off today's episode and explain what we're going to talk about, thanks to everyone who supported us this year. Really do appreciate it, of course. Callum and myself really do. And yeah, hope you guys are having a lovely Christmas and have a lovely festive season. So, what are we going to talk about in today's podcast? Because we've got gifts here, but we're also in classic Movie Mates fashion reviewing some movies. So, yes. What are we going to talk about?
This is, of course, as you said, a Movie Mates episode.
Absolutely.
And we go off on tangents. We talk about weird stuff. Nothing too weird. Pretty rude one today. I have some Christmas questions for Matthew. You know how he gets up to Christmas. You know what he does with his time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you your Christmas dinner. You know what's part of it.
Love it.
Have a wee think in the back of your mind. As Matthew said, we've bought each other presents. I'm surprised Matthew wrapped his. It's not usually his style. So we're gonna open those for you. I mean, we're gonna give our genuine reactions, but you know I'm emotionless for the most part. So I feel like Matthew's gonna probably be crushed.
I'm just thinking, this is the first time a podcast where it's me and you in person.
Yeah, this has never happened.
We've never
been on camera. No,
it hasn't. So
this is a recent purchase.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So yes, as Callum said, Christmas chat, and then are we also doing our favourite Christmas films in this podcast?
We are, of course.
Yes.
Doing our favourite Christmas films. It wouldn't be Movie Mates otherwise.
Exactly.
It would just be mates. So
yeah, exactly.
So,
and that's what we are as well, off pod as well. So it's going to be good.
Yes.
It's going to be so good. So Callum's picked 2, I've picked 2.
This was going to be our Christmas classics episode. But you know, I thought in the off chance that we really hated It's a Wonderful Life and hated Miracle on 34th Street, I feel like we're going to end up using the audio from the camera.
Yeah.
I feel like this is doing nothing here.
To be fair, it's picking up, but we have a laptop, viewers, we have a laptop on here. It seems pretty high, to be fair. It looks pretty, yeah.
I'm just screaming.
Sorry, viewers, hopefully that'll be lower in the edit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's YouTube, people can just turn it down.
That's good, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I assume the max volume on this equates to the max volume on YouTube.
You think so? Well, I hope so.
Not sure, presumably not the minimum. You know, so I thought in the off chance that we really despised It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street, I thought a viable alternative would be our favourite Christmas films. I thought, you know, one Christmas episode was probably going to be enough, but then I thought that this seems more true to form, because, you know, on our 50th special, you know, we got a bit of getting to know us, and, you know, I think this is going to be another opportunity to do that.
Absolutely,
but through the method of nostalgia.
Absolutely, dude, absolutely. And yes, Callum's got questions for us both to answer regarding Christmas as well, and then should we tell the viewers what our Christmas films are, our favourite ones, or keep them?
Well, it depends how we plan to go, because the standard Movie Mates procedure is go chronological.
Yeah.
But I feel like we should each. I feel like we should go your second pick, my second
like
pick.
Superhero film pitch style, where like you do one, I do one.
Yeah, you know, I think when it came to this superhero film pitch, we left the best for the last. So
yeah.
I think if we start with your second favourite, my second favourite, your first, my first.
Nice one.
I think that'd be good. So. We can tell them our selection today.
Yeah, you go for
my second favourite Christmas film. I've chosen Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. A bit of a classic sitcom mix-up. you know, I was speaking to my brother because you know he also loves films, so you know, I was gauging which ones he might want to watch with me, and I told him that I was watching Gremlins and Home Alone 2, but he took that to mean Home Alone as well.
Oh,
so we got,
as in Home Alone 2.
We got maybe 15 minutes into the film before we went, why have the police not shown up anymore?
Yeah,
and I said, that doesn't happen this one, and he's like, in this one?
Yeah.
This is Home Alone 2, isn't it?
Yeah, I
said, yeah. Like it took a long time to sort that out. But my first pick is Gremlins, and we'll talk about my concerns about, you know, it'd been you decide your favorite Christmas film maybe as a child, and then coming back as a cynical adult. You know, there's risk to that.
There is risk to that. Yeah. It's the same with like TV shows that we love as like when we were children. Like they're probably really bad.
Yeah, I mean, one choice that you've made today, I think was a high risk of maybe being.
I think so. And for mine, I have chosen. Well, I've been a bit naughty because I have chosen Voyage of the Damned, the Doctor Who TV Christmas special, which is a big fan of my childhood. Probably not as good as I remember it.
Okay.
And then the other one I have is, of course, Elf. Will Ferrell. Love that film. And it's weird because...
Why have you designated yourself a naughty boy?
Because you know, Voyage of the Damned, obviously Doctor Who is quite famous for having Christmas specials, but I don't know, like, if I feel a bit wrong having it here in like a Christmas in the UK.
I spilled it all over myself. I don't
we'll
know.
Keep that in.
I thought it'd be a bit festive. Like I have a gizmo.
I like that. You see that beers?
The entire top is just open, and I
like it.
Surely this is not ideal for drinking hot drinks.
I mean, do you have hot chocolate in there?
No, I've spilled Diet Coke on myself. But like, imagine if I just did.
Someone bought me a hot chocolate in the drive yesterday.
Oh, look, like a
customer.
A lady?
Yeah.
A young lady?
Two
young ladies?
Yeah.
Was it? Nothing to tell. You know.
Yeah.
Most of the. Oh, he's getting red. Most of the people who watch this are our friends, so you know they're fully aware of what Matthew does for a living. And you know.
McDonalds.
Yeah, I ask Matthew frequently. Do any ladies you know maybe spy a bit of Matthew, you know, get a bit of interest, and he's had some stories, but. I want you to look into that camera, dead into the camera.
If those ladies are watching, you guys are the best. I love yous. Anyway, it was a great hot chocolate.
Oh yeah, the last time this happened, I mean they didn't purchase you a drink, but they asked for your Snapchat and you don't have Snapchat.
That's it. It happens. It happens.
Did anything further happen in this instance?
Nothing really further happened in that instance, but unfortunately. But one thing is there've been a few people from work who have subscribed to the channel.
This is a lot of money. Like I hope I haven't ruined this.
It looks good. It looks really. I hope the viewers can see it.
Yeah, I hope the viewers can see it. I mean, now one of the Gremlins just has a brown left leg or right leg.
Well, listen, viewers. I suppose we just start off with some of the questions that Callum had for like about how we can share how we spend our Christmas day and stuff like that. So like Christmas dinner, what time we open our presents at, that kind of thing. And of course, with presents, we've got our own, which we will open in that conversation as well. So, opening questions. Well, I think this is going to go quite similar to the Get to Know Us, like you said.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's a quick few, but this has famously been a shit year. Famously.
Absolutely.
And you know, we live in Belfast. You know, the Belfast Christmas market. Such as you know, as with plenty of other Christmas markets, have been completely shut. Town is pretty deserted, except you know, it's been pretty busy the last few days, but that's sort of just the expected Christmas rush. So things are a nightmare at the moment, and I was just wondering, are you feeling the Christmas spirit yet?
Absolutely not. Like it's weird because we're recording this on Christmas Eve, and like in case like you watch all these videos back to back, we're recording quite a few videos back to back, so like Wonder Woman 84, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So. For us, this is Christmas Eve, and it's like, what is it, like less than 5 hours until the big day, and I still do not feel Christmas whatsoever. What about you?
No, this is my favourite time of year. You know, I'm quite a cynical person, but you know, the one sort of like cheesy corporate holiday I buy into is Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, everything else I'll say otherwise, but you know, because I'm not religious, it is more just about spending time with your family rather than prayer.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm all about, you know, having fun at Christmas, but just nothing about this year has been fun.
That's it, man.
You know, the one distinct difference, and I'll ask you this now. The one distinct difference about this year is that I've actually bought presents, which is the first time I've ever bought presents for anyone.
Me too.
Other than you. You know, I bought you a Christmas present maybe 2 years ago, and that's the last present I've given you. But you know, we've got presents for each other today.
We absolutely.
This is the first time I've bought presents for family members. Thank you. Student finance NI, you know, You know. But
anyway,
so I was able to get a smattering of presents for
I
people.
just saw the audio for that. I feel bad.
That's
Anyway.
fine.
But yeah, presents. I haven't actually. This is the first year I've actually like committed to presents as well, because it's sort of a like I think a lot of people are really everywhere, like where I live as well, which is quite close to you as well. A lot of people, decorations wise, that you wouldn't usually go for decorations. I've gone for decorations. You know what I mean? Like people, because they've got nothing else to do. And I'm definitely in that boat, like people want to make the most of this Christmas, so they're really getting into the decorations and stuff like that. So, and I mean, speak of us, we've got our Christmas jumpers on, we're trying to get into it as well as much as we can, but it's weird because it just snuck up on us this year, Christmas, and it is tomorrow, like this time tomorrow we'll probably be tucking into our Christmas dinner, or whatever time your family has Christmas dinner at.
I wanted to ask you, did you enjoy buying presents though? Because for me, it's the first time I've done it. It wasn't an experience I've had before. I know famously I'm not that good at getting presents, or maybe I am, but I get very anxious about it nonetheless. Whenever someone says, do you want to get presents for people, or if I know that your birthday's coming up, I get maybe a bit anxious, because you're a very sweet boy. You would never tell someone if you hated something, but I don't want to put you in that position where you have to be sort of really happy about something that maybe isn't.
Well, dude, I think any present that you've ever given me, I've absolutely loved it, and I think buying presents can be quite stressful, because especially for people in your life who are hard to buy for.
So I went very for yours, but yes, I'll. Well, do you want to do one if we?
At the same time?
No, soon as we've both bought each other two, we can go back and forth. I'm nervous about this.
Go for yours.
Oh, he's even written this. Wow. Merry Christmas, fellow podcaster. A sweet boy.
Sweet boy. No, this present that I bought Callum, it does relate to something in his room right now.
Okay.
Which is pretty interesting.
Is this the weird one?
This is the weird one.
So I was speaking to Matthew after one of the later episodes that we recorded, and he said he was trying to figure out how to get one of the presents to work, and he described it as something remote controlled that wouldn't normally be. So I said, that sounds weird. So
yeah.
So, is this a sex toy, Matthew?
No. While you open that, I'm just gonna double check this camera's still recording. Okay. Yes, we are still recording, viewers. That's all good. It's our first time doing this, so excuse the dodgy editing. So,
yeah, and also, we do normally have two mics where we're not incompetent. But just Audacity is not the most ideal sound equipment. I got your glasses if you want to know. Start from that. I'll just wait a second.
Go for it, buddy.
Oh, I'll just wait a second.
Wonder if that makes
out.
Yeah. Cool. So,
I mean, you'll just look magic, you'll just with an edit.
As if by magic, yeah. Cool. So
this is the first present here. Yeah, you got lucky with your shapes, because that looks absolutely shite, but once you see what it is, that's decent. Okay, I'm gonna.
Do you ever get worried you wrap the present and you're like, oh no, I've messed something up here?
No. Well.
Oh no. I'm quite nervous.
Why is this indestructible? Okay, so.
It's a box inside a box, so yeah.
You bastard. Oh fuck. I gave my scissors to my sister as well. Oh. Okay.
Okay, so that's the gizmo that you need to use.
This is the gizmo. This is.
That's you're gonna be so disappointed.
No, I think I know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. No, because I recognize what this is.
Yeah.
That did not look disappointing. Come on. No. I was trying to figure because you said it's the gizmo to power it, and so I know what that is. So, thank you very much.
No problem.
I mean, I still don't know what this is. Kind of.
Can I explain what it is? Oh. It's a VHS tape nightlight. Actual VHS tape of Back to the Future, as well. If you have a VHS.
That is awesome. Oh my god. Is this the case for it?
That's the case for the VHS.
Oh, that's awesome.
See, it's weird because I don't know how they take apart the plug, but it does work, and I'm not sure. I said to Callum about this on the podcast a few podcasts ago. I was struggling to use this. So,
is it because it's a USB cord? Did you not have something available?
Oh no, I did, but it's the fact that I didn't know exactly how that would fit into that case and stuff. Is the USB cord detachable and stuff? So it should. I think it was said on the place I got it. It was a real VHS as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
Hopefully you enjoy that.
Yeah, is it? Do you know? Do you know which parts of it light?
So those pits there, so the actual like spinny things.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'd probably put it on the bookcase somewhere.
Nice
you know,
one.
to display it
Awesome.
near the. I like the. I have a lot of spare room there.
Nice one.
And you know, I have the Back to the Future DVDs.
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that'd be awesome because I was gonna get some.
I'm so glad you like
Maybe.
that.
Oh no, I love it. Like
Awesome.
I mean, honest, you know, because on my desk I have a lot of spare room, so I was maybe gonna pick up. I don't know whether you've seen on the internet. You can get an LED lamp that looks like the Yellow Submarine from the Beatles.
No, serious?
Yeah, and I was thinking of picking that up, or there's a Sergeant Pepper drum that's an
that sounds
LED.
cool.
So I was gonna get one of those for my desk, but now thinking that I have so much room on my that's amazing.
I'm glad you like it.
Like I'm not kidding. Like I do really love it.
That's amazing. Love that.
Yeah, go for the go for the bottom one. This
Okay.
one I'm less confident on.
Okay, viewers,
I'll
this
tell
is
you
what
I'll
I'm
tell you
about.
the reasoning
I'm so
after.
excited.
I mean, you know what it is. Like you know what the item is.
Oh my god, Beach Boys! Oh my god, I thought it was a calendar!
Oh,
I didn't
you
think it was a
did?
vinyl record!
No.
Oh my god!
So me and Matthew have both recently.
That's class.
Me and Matthew have both
No
been
way.
trying to acquire a vinyl record collection. I've got a collection of 4 now. And if you ever want to see our collections, we can maybe show you. But you know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to amass a collection because I'm getting a record player tomorrow. But Matthew got
Actually,
one.
that's
Matthew got one a few months ago. He told me a few years ago that the Beach Boys were one of his favorites.
Absolutely.
And I casually worked in being able to see his collection a few days ago.
Yeah.
And he didn't have this one. And weirdly, I got the album from Amazon, but you had mentioned that you buy your protective sleeves from
Did you go to HMV? Oh, mate.
because like I have some really shit
Oh,
ones that
buddy.
are because I bought like a pack of 100 for myself for £8, so like
Dude.
they're absolute dog shit. So I didn't want to
Mate,
lumber you with that.
That is honestly so thoughtful.
do
Like,
you
wouldn't
like
it be
it?
nice? God only knows. Like, that is amazing. I love that. Honestly, that is amazing.
I was hoping you still like the Beach Boys, but I was like if someone likes the Beach Boys, that's the safe choice.
100, mate, thank
Yeah.
you so much. That is brilliant.
Well,
That is amazing.
Thank you, sir.
This is going well.
This is going very well.
very well.
This has never happened like in the history of buying.
So this one is
This is awesome. I thought it was like LED strip lights, and then I was like, because it's the same.
the same
Wait,
sort of.
Can you control the color of it?
Yeah. You get
What
like
the fuck?
whenever you
This is so
whenever you
cool.
plug it in, it goes multicolored, and then you can control the color.
This is people are just like,
People are like, what the fuck is
yeah,
this?
people are like, who cares? Like, are you gonna time code this like us being wankers or something?
Yeah, I'll time
Yeah, yeah.
this to buy
Yeah.
the ability.
And then okay,
This is the safe choice. No.
this is the safe choice. I
Yes.
mean, it feels like a fucking brick.
It does feel heavy.
Like, is this the one you picked up in Waterstones the other
It
day?
is. It is.
Okay, I have some. Well, it feels like a metal tin of some kind, and I don't know how to break into this. I'll be honest.
No, I'll preface this present by saying, of course, this is a movie channel, so we'll see where it goes from here.
My room is very movie memorabilia.
It is. It
I have
absolutely is. It looks
Howell the
amazing.
Mod poster, Back to the Future poster, Empire Strikes Back,
Graduate.
Graduate.
Looks unreal.
Yeah, I've got a whole
Looks
collection here. Okay.
Awesome.
So, oh wow. So this is a metal tin full of film. I don't know if that's in camera, but
I think it should be.
a film book of trivia. That is fantastic.
Awesome.
I've been meaning to get into some reading, and you can
Yeah, and I
see it
remember
on
you
my
saying,
bookcase there.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I'll have a wee look. Oh.
Nice one.
Oh yeah, like I was worried if it was maybe going to be massive because of the metal tin.
Mhm.
There's plenty of room on my
Nice
on my
one.
desk for that. That's
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah, I will be. I mean, I will absolutely be reading that tomorrow.
Awesome.
You know, I was looking for
this
some
might
reading.
this might feature in some future pods, so my suggestions, because got a lot of films in there that we'll look to cover as well.
Oh,
I'm
does it
glad you
have,
like
does it have like bucket lists and stuff?
I'm not too sure. I think so, mate. I think it's got like everything, like country, like films go according to country and stuff. So
No, this has been amazing.
this
yeah.
has been going well.
Okay, so this is the.
Awesome.
It's also the item is a safe choice. What's on it is. I'm semi-confident on this one.
Okay, I'll make a word of this.
No, Matthew's been wearing a lot more hats.
Oh my
And
god!
I popped into the Disney store.
Oh, it's got.
So yeah, no, if it was just the black with just X-Men written on it, it'd be fucking boring. but
so
it has the
90s
X-Men. on the
X-Men. Awesome. That is. I'm gonna put it on.
I've been seeing you wear a lot more hats lately,
Yeah, put it on.
so I thought it was a
Dude,
decent show.
This is gonna sound so weird. I remember when I was like, this is like a weird like twist of fate. When I was 10 years old, I was in England buying like a cap that was exactly like this, and I never got it, and I'm so glad
So you don't have one like that, do you?
No, do I have? This is brilliant. Oh, I love it, man. I love it.
I think we've both lucked out here.
I think we've.
I think this has been very successful.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thank you, sir.
That was fantastic. Awesome. So yes, viewers, that was our Christmas unboxing. Hope you guys enjoyed. We haven't finished the podcast. Of course, there's plenty more to come. And
several hours, maybe.
Several hours. So, Callum, that was right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So now that we have, it's gone surprisingly well. Is the record decent? Like,
the record?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Classic beat. Like, it's got so many great songs on there. I actually love it. Honestly, I thought it was a calendar. I was like, oh, I need a calendar. This is gonna be great. This is even better. This is great. Awesome, dude.
I thought music is a safe choice. I feel like we're both probably gonna fall into that. Like now that we both have record players.
Oh yeah.
Every birthday just.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's
not negative.
Absolutely, yeah,
so,
for sure.
I wanted to ask you, do your family have any traditions? Because I know you're a very family-oriented man. You're a tight-knit family. Mine's more extended. I just stay and celebrate with my with my very close family. Yeah. So, do you have any family traditions?
Yeah, so like for our family, we always used to go to our nanny's house. Shout out nanny if you're listening.
Big up Doreene.
Big up Doreene. Yeah, big up Doreene. And we always go to we always go to her house and stuff. And then she makes Christmas dinner and stuff. And yeah, so she does like prawn cocktails or like soup for starters, Christmas dinner for the main, and then like snacks and stuff for dessert and stuff. So we always do that. And then me and you have played the Jackbox Party Pack on Xbox. We used to do that as a family as well, which is always fun. And then obviously like in our household we're like a classic sort of soap family, where not as in like washing our hands.
Soap opera. Yeah.
Soap opera, so like at EastEnders, Christmas specials, that kind of stuff. So but yeah.
I thought you meant that like drama unfolded in your house like that.
But like no, we like our TV show Christmas specials of last year. Gavin and Stacey, of course. I'm sure your family did the same.
Oh yeah, for last year.
Yeah. But no, what's your family?
Well, we're a much more antisocial family when it comes to that. Because normally, no matter how hard I try, and I've orchestrated it this year that like I don't understand how this could happen again. Normally I will sleep perfectly normal hours the 2-3 days leading up to Christmas, and then Christmas Eve and Christmas morning can't sleep. So I'm up like just having to occupy myself for like 7 hours just by myself because everyone else is a normal person and can sleep. This year, 3 days ago I slept 3 hours. 2 days ago I slept 3 hours. Last night I slept 7 hours.
Not bad.
So I'm saying like I've limited myself massively with the amount of hours I've slept so that I'm exhausted tonight. Yeah. So if I don't sleep tonight, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be pissed. So normally what happens is I try to wake everybody up. We go down for presents. We open our presents. Normally, one or more of my siblings is still in bed because they once again sleep like normal human beings. So sometimes we're not all together, sometimes we are all together, but then immediately after I've gone to bed, I'm exhausted. Yeah. I don't eat anything. Then we have dinner, but it's lunchtime.
Sure.
And then I'm back asleep again. So I would say maybe 2 hours of the entire day is spent with my family, and then the rest is just in bed or checking out what I've received. Yeah. So as I was saying, my dad does make a fantastic dinner, and that leads me on to another question I had for you. What time do you eat Christmas dinner? What is it comprised of?
Well, I would say on the average year, we probably have the starters, like prawn cocktails or soup around the 2:30 mark, Christmas dinner, 3 o'clock, and then...
That's bizarre to me.
Is it? What
time
do you? And then like we have like a party sort of snacks at the end of the night, which is I actually almost prefer it than the Christmas dinner. Because like party snacks like chicken wings, sausages, everything. Okay. So like probably like 8 or 9 o'clock. What about you guys like?
Well, I've been listening a lot to Jack Mate's Happy Hour. He's been having on guests for his 12 pods of Christmas, and each time he'll ask, what do you have for your Christmas breakfast? And I was like,
Christmas breakfast?
I was like, what's a Christmas breakfast? And they're all like, oh, I have salmon and eggs. I have a full English breakfast. I'm like, Christmas breakfast?
Yeah, it's quite unusual, isn't it?
Like, we starve ourselves until the dinner, and then
that's the highlight.
And then that's all the food we have in that day. We're massive gluttons, but for that 1 hour of the day, which is usually, my dad always says, hey, yeah, it'll be at 1. It's at 3.
3?
It's at
3 as well.
This year he said, well, let's aim for 2. I was like, let's aim for 1, maybe.
Lunchtime.
It's going to be 3 again.
Well, at
but
least
you know,
with
but you
3
know,
less a day.
that is the only time we eat during that day. You know, there's no breakfast,
pick out
there's
that
no
one, I love
dinner,
it.
there's
Yeah.
Christmas brunch.
I always find Christmas breakfast, it's quite a strange thing because, like, I don't know, I was like, so there are some times in Christmas, like, where our family had, like, croissants or something like that, like, but, like, ones that you get from, like, Marks and Spencer's or something like that, you heat up and stuff, but, like, I don't know, I've never really had, I don't think I've ever had a Christmas breakfast, like, sometimes we'd go over to the family members' houses, to be fair, and at breakfast time as well, but, I don't know, Christmas dinner is one of those things where I love the turkey, ham, stuffing, big fan.
Okay.
Roast potatoes. I quite like cranberry sauce recently, actually, I'm getting that more. And then Brussels sprouts, no, hate them.
Okay,
Hate
you know,
them.
so...
Hot take, I don't know.
Yeah. Is that a hot take?
I don't know, but maybe a lot of people hate them.
I think a lot of people hate them. I don't hate them, I actually quite like them, but I think they're wasted space. You know, ideally I would have no vegetables on mine, it would just be a pile of meat, stuffing and gravy.
And carbohydrates.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you know, you have to think like, what is the, you know, Christmas dinner is all about gluttony. You know, like you're not there to like get gains. You know, you're there you're there for the taste. Exactly. So you know, you pile it with the things that you know, like the best ratio of like, you know, not stomach filling and tasty. You know, so absolutely. I would ideally just pile it with meat, but vegetables and that.
I know. I guess just what I thought.
You know, I like a mashed carrot and parsnip.
Ooh,
and peas. Those are the only vegetables, and then it's turkey, gammon, cocktail sausages, gravy.
Love that.
Stuffing, which my dad makes. But he doesn't like what kind of stuffing do you have? Is it like breadcrumbs?
Breadcrumbs and stuff.
My dad sort of takes the breadcrumbs and like bakes it into a loaf.
Really? That's cool.
So you sort of have like these little like circular buns of stuffing that you then cut up and like sort of like like an American biscuit almost.
I like that. That's old school. That's really cool. Like do you guys, so after Christmas dinner, I remember you sending me off podcast as well, Boxing Day or maybe around the couple days afterwards. That's where the real treat begins because Christmas dinner sandwiches.
Yeah, they're sandwiches for days. You know,
love that. We do the same.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is they slowly dwindle. You know, so it starts with turkey, ham, stuffing, gravy. Yes, gravy in a sandwich. Banging. But you know, it slowly dwindles. So you know, the more you have, obviously, you slowly lose the turkey, then you slowly lose the ham, and then eventually, like I would just like butter it with some gravy. But like, is that same situation?
Oh yeah, 100% same with us. Yeah, a gammon sandwich is it's so good. I love it. And then Boxing Day is like, it's a really weird day in the year because like, I don't know. Do your family do anything for Boxing Day?
No, nothing at all. I mean, you know, sometimes we'll pop into town, you know, see what kind of deals are on, but usually they're shit. Like anywhere that I'm potentially interested in, you know, at all, there's nothing. You know, HMV, you know, which obviously sells DVDs, vinyl records, stuff. You know, nothing's ever reduced there. Like it's all reductions in like, you know, like cosmetic products, which I have no interest in.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'm just exactly the same.
Boots is like a treasure trove for reductions.
Boots is
absolutely no interest.
No, I'm 100% the same. 100% the same. Like I always like Boxing Day. Like when I was younger, like we used to go out and stuff for shopping, but I actually prefer it just like, because obviously Christmas Day, like we'd stay up until a bit later than average, so like I'd usually be really exhausted on Boxing Day, so just like take it as a lazy day and stuff. But I know what you mean. Like some of the sales is just overrated, isn't it? These days, it's not great, but. It's weird because I think this year Christmas Day sprung up on us all that I think everyone's gonna really make the most of it. Yeah. So everyone's gonna like really go in, especially for maybe not Boxing Day with lockdown, but certainly Christmas Day. Yeah.
Because I'm frequently underwhelmed with Christmas, not because of what I receive. You know, I'm always grateful for what I receive, but it's just how quickly the day's over and how uneventful it ends up being. Because you know, if you're like a prompt person, you know, gift giving might be over by 9-10 a.m.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, what do I do now? Exactly. And then I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't get on with their family, and then that's all there is. And then you know they probably like sink in themselves and think, you know, like what else is there? You know, there's nothing else to enjoy. And for me, you know, because I'm not a massive like TV special person. You know, it is just like, you know, maybe having fun with whatever I've received. Obviously, you know, telling everyone how appreciative I am of that. But then there's not much else.
Yeah, it's sometimes like it can be quite an empty day as well, and sometimes like as you said, but like you build it up so much and stuff. Like I don't want to be a Scrooge here, of course. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like you build it up so much and then sometimes.
Yeah, this is meant to be a bit of fun, but I'm gonna bring up the fact that like, you know, this has obviously been a bad year for everyone, but it's kind of just it's depressing me a little just thinking how the one thing that I've looked forward to for the last several months. After 27 hours from now or whatever, it's done.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that I had to look forward to for such a long period of time is over.
I know, buddy.
I mean, our birthdays are sort of rearing around the corner.
Very similar, yeah.
But what are we gonna do then?
Exactly.
Nothing.
I know.
We'll just be out of lockdown for your birthday, but like we're not gonna be able to do anything too fun or with too big a group.
That's it, dude. That's it. So I agree with what you're saying. Probably a lot of people just make the most of it this Christmas and stuff. But even still, I still like we said this before. We still at the start of the podcast. We still don't feel Christmassy.
I know.
And it's freaking me out a little bit because usually I would be at this point. But
yeah. And I've had some incidents lately. With blacking out drunk. So I was so I was not going to be drinking this Christmas, but now it seems that as soon as the cocktails and the Baileys and the wine starts to come in, your eyes start to widen, like, if everyone's doing it, exactly. The most I'd ever had, was a sip of Baileys, but now
love that.
Now I can do what I want.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. You're an adult. You're a big boy.
Big boy.
Excuse me. But yeah, like. I actually, at the Christmas Day is one day in the year or a few days in the year where I have a little alcoholic beverage myself.
Oh, because
West Coast cooler.
Because
that's right.
I feel like one day, maybe if we're talking about drunk films or the Hangover trilogy or something, that I think we'll share some drinking stories. And by we I mean me, because Matthew's not too big a drinker.
Not too big.
I've never seen the man drink more than half a cider, I believe is his record. I don't. You've never seen me drink very much.
No, not really, but I
usually just
you tell me stories.
I usually throw up in my house,
I love it. Respectful.
Usually. Sorry, the people that's.
Oh well. But yeah, like no, but like Christmas Day is like I think a lot of people just like to take that time, like let their hair down and stuff from the stress, especially this year, like it's been shit. So like a lot of people just let their hair down and just enjoy the day. But it's a sort of similar thing. Like, what is it that is like? What the popular drink is like Slur is the popular drink at Christmas time?
Yeah,
is that a big thing in your household?
I've recently had it. Like back in the day before you had alcohol, you think like, oh, this is what alcohol tastes like. Whenever I used to look at a pint or something, I would be it looks like apple juice, and then I had beer is fucking vile.
And
then you have Slur and you think, oh, I'm a big boy. I'm drinking basically like the child's version of wine.
Yeah.
And then you have actual wine, and they actually taste kind of similar in that they're both vinegary and unpleasant. So going back trying to drink Slur, even the most pleasant flavor is not for me anymore. I don't think.
No, I know what you mean, buddy. I know what you mean. Like, it's hard. Like, what do you don't really hear you hear much about like Christmas dinner, but like you never really hear much like Christmas drink beverages and stuff. I suppose it's because it probably is been alcohol, but like. We can see we're both drinking Diet Coke. That's probably our go-to drink. These days.
I mean, for a leisurely drink, For Christmas, I would normally go for Slur. This year, I've got some cocktails in. Probably not to accompany the dinner, admittedly.
Yeah.
But I've got some pina colada and some
love it
porn star martini, which is passion fruit. So.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm hoping to. I mean, there's only 2 cans, so I'll probably have to like down them for. I mean, I'm fairly. I mean, you sound like such a wanker when you say like heavyweight.
No, I know what you mean.
People go, oh, that person's a lightweight.
Yeah.
But you don't people go like, I'm a heavyweight.
Yeah, I know.
But like, I'm not a lightweight, so I might have to like. We have like a couple bottles of wine, so I might have to just get involved.
Yeah. Oh, may as well. I'm just gonna double check. I get so paranoid that this is not recording, but it is recording. That's good. Awesome. Yeah. So, any more questions regarding?
I mean, worst case scenario, worst case scenario, we have the audio.
Yeah. Worst case scenario. But like, then what if we just use audio? They don't get to see our joyous faces.
Yeah.
I mean, we have that video clip that's stored, like it's there. Like we could just put that out hypothetically. Do you know what I mean? And
you just mean. I just mean if it feels recording or something.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't think this audio is going to be the best.
I mean, like we use the camera anyway. But
Yeah, I mean, you'll just listen to both and suss it out, I guess.
But yes, any more questions regarding Christmas, mate?
I don't, because it sort of goes back to the fact that I don't find Christmas that eventful. It's all about the lead up and then the dramatic decline right after. So for the day itself, I think I've covered everything.
Yeah.
So if you want to start with the movies that we have collected notes for today, what, Matthew, would you say is your second favorite Christmas film?
I would say the second favourite Christmas film was mine. Now, did you make notes on my Christmas films and stuff?
I made notes.
Okay, cool. So I made notes on yours as well, that's good. So for me, I think my second favourite one is...
I didn't expect it to be like the High School Musical situation, where where loyal viewer Thomas Meehan.
I was reading his email the other day.
Yeah, he emailed. He is our one and only viewer to email us. He requested that we cover High School Musical.
And the Disney films, which you've done.
Yeah, and I watched High School Musical. So instead of reviewing it, I just gave you a recap. I just did like an honest trailer for you.
It's kind of like a Blade Runner 2049 scenario where like
but to be fair,
I admitted that I felt so bad like
throughout that entire. Did you admit that to me after we recorded it?
Second favourite film is Elf. Now, viewers, in relation to the conversation we've just had, I didn't get a chance to watch all of it.
I think the more controversial thing is that you've chosen Voyage of the Damned, a Doctor Who TV Christmas special, as your favourite Christmas film of all time.
To be fair, I felt bad because there's a film that Callum has mentioned today that has also, it might be up there as well.
Okay.
So, but yes, Elf is probably my second one now. Zooey Deschanel's in this.
Yes.
And she's one of my favourite actresses. So she is, obviously from 500 Days of Summer.
This may quickly become a bit more antisocial while we turn over our phones to look at
yeah, literally.
You know.
But no, Elf, it's one of those ones where like, I think it's more of a 2000s kid one, because like I mentioned to this guy in work, I was like, oh, what's your favourite Christmas film? And I was like, oh, Elf. He's like, oh, one of those kids, huh? One of those millennials. I was like, what?
I'm sorry, how old are the people working at McDonald's?
This guy was 29 or 30. But like, I mean,
surely that means it came out when he was like 10 years old then?
Yeah, so I know what you mean.
Or 12.
When was this film, like 90s?
2003.
2003?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing about this film is, it sort of places the dynamic of, rather than, with the situation, Miracle on 34th Street having, a Christmas figure like Santa in the human world, it places... Well, no, it is quite something, isn't it? Because it places I know it doesn't, because it places the human character in sort of the Christmas world at the start.
Yes.
With Buddy, and of course, he's actually a human, and I think that's quite a funny dynamic for the film, to be fair.
Yeah, and I would say that does sort of cause a lot of physical comedy, and that sort of leads to a lot of impressive effects, because are you aware of like how
how did they do it? Do you know?
Well, they used a fixed camera position that caused this this depth of perception, where they had Will Ferrell like sat in the corner but in the same room as like these people who were the elves, so they had them in a like in a shot that would make them just look regular sized, but they had him sitting like far away. So like I'm obviously no expert when it comes to camera positions or anything, but I've seen behind the scenes footage, and they were like sat in the same room, but in a sort of fixed position that made the depth perception off, so it made him look massive.
Oh, okay. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. But yeah, like that, as you said, that does provide some like funny gags. But obviously, we see him like in the shower and stuff, and then him compared to the actual size of these elves, like he's huge. And like, I don't know, because one thing about this film, that Buddy character can probably come across as really annoying.
Oh, very easily, I think.
You think so? Yeah.
I had a very like bad feeling in my stomach going into any of these films, thinking, I have nostalgia for all of these, because we share a lot of movies that we both like, and I really enjoy the two choices you made, but I was terrified that I was going to hate this, because you sort of hear a lot about like elfitis, it's probably the Christmas film that people, whether they like it the most or not, they've seen it the most. Most people, I would say, have seen Elf 20 times. Yeah. And through no choice of their own, it's always the one that like teachers put on in their maths classroom, 100%. Or it's on TV, all throughout the Christmas period.
It's a classic school Christmas film.
Yeah. So whether you want to have or not, you've seen this a bunch of times, and I was worried it was gonna like really like
Did it grind your gears?
I thought it was gonna grind my gears. It didn't at all. That's thought good. Will Ferrell, his comedy these days is not the best.
That's good.
So I thought maybe not, but he's amazing.
He is.
I would say he's best at physical comedy in this, and that's something I usually wouldn't notice or respect. And it's something that we're actually going to talk about in our Wonder Woman review, because I feel like Kristen Wiig nailed that in the same way that Will Ferrell did. But yeah, I was really impressed by his performance.
Absolutely.
The first point I made, and it was sort of my just immediate reaction. I've said about the visual effects that I find really amazing, but the CGI. The CGI is dreadful.
That is bad. That's really bad.
But I wanted to ask you, is this on purpose? Because really, I think that the sort of stop motion / poor quality of the CGI and the vibrance of the costumes of the elves sort of just it adds to the otherworldliness of the North Pole. Like, do you
yeah.
think like Mr. Narwhal looking terrible? Do you think that's on purpose?
It's quite a similar thing to like how we talked about like is, you know, it's sort of a similar thing that I actually sort of mentioned about like with Dora and the Lost City of Gold, that famous review that we did. Well, it's famous movie minutes standards. Is that film intentionally funny? And in that case, like in Elf scenario, like is the CGI intentionally bad to sort of like poke fun at that character kind of thing?
Yeah.
I'm not sure it is.
I think when it comes to Dora and the Lost City of Gold, that is intentional, intentionally funny. This, the quality of the CGI, I think they assessed how best they could do it, said let's not do, because they could have made, you know, the snowman character look like a real snowman, but just with bad CGI. Or they could have made like a photorealistic, you know, what is like narwhal? Is it a narwhal is a type of whale?
It's a type
or
of dolphin or whale. Yeah,
yeah, so
like a pointy nose.
Yeah, so they could have had like, you know, an anatomically looking correct one that just looked bad because of the CGI.
Yeah.
But they actually intentionally made it look like sort of animated stop motion.
They did,
so I think it is intentional.
Maybe it is, because like you sort of said, the way they did sort of the framing of Will Ferrell compared to the other characters to sort of make him appear a bit bigger, it kind of makes me think like they could have easily used CGI for that, but they didn't. So maybe it probably was intentionally, because like the film doesn't overly like, there is some like uses of CGI of course, but you know, I think one instance where I think it is intentionally funny is when like he picks up all the snowballs and he's going like yo. That's obviously intentionally funny, like he's like machine gunning like these kids with snowballs, like that's quite funny. Maybe not machine gunning kids, that's probably not the right word for that. But do you know what?
You always find that hilarious?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Do you know what I mean though? Like there's some points in the film where it's like, I think it is intentionally funny, and like to have that character's like this bright sort of, it's sort of like, well, I'd sort of like a child trapped in an adult's body kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of dynamic I think is quite funny for the film.
We've talked a lot about Will Ferrell, and you've mentioned Zooey Deschanel. Yeah. But I want to ask you, you know, you've made reference even today to the fact that 500 Days of Summer is your favourite film. Like, seeing her in this film, are you thinking like, I could be watching 500 Days of Summer right now?
Well, the thing is, mate, I look at Zooey Deschanel's character in this and I don't see Summer.
Yeah.
Because she looks a lot different.
Yeah.
Different hair and stuff like that, so it's weird because I don't immediately recognise her from that, but it's weird. Every time I see Will Ferrell, I just think...
The Step Brothers.
I think Step Brothers. I also think the evil dad from the Lego Movie as well. Because I sometimes forget he's in that as well, but he hasn't aged a day. Like, he looks very similar to this, to who he does now. But no, her character I actually quite liked as well, and I didn't really... You know, I don't really recognise her as Summer in this one, which is weird.
Is it because of her amazing performance? Because
she's really good.
Because I think Zooey Deschanel has some of the biggest range in all of acting history. Because this character is, I would say in the beginning, before she sort of warms to Buddy, cynical. Summer is a realist.
Absolutely.
And then her character Jess in New Girl is like the biggest optimist in television. So I think Zooey Deschanel's...
She's really good.
I think her range
is
amazing, and I think that's why she's not immediately identifiable.
It's weird because like I think she's quite underrated. She's not in a lot of things. Like Elf and 500 Days of Summer probably much too popular movies.
Yeah, no, she's not a big film actress. She was in Bridge to Terabithia, but aside from that, I genuinely couldn't name you any more of her projects probably. Yeah,
like I think her character in this film, like the relationship and the dynamic between her and Buddy is really cute as well. But my favourite character in the film has to be Buddy's dad.
I thought you were gonna say like Wanda the store owner, because Matthew just like sympathizes with like weird side characters, and I do sometimes too. But you know, yeah, it's usually one of the main characters. Yeah. But you like James Caan.
James Caan, like
whole throat. He's just trying to make a living for his family.
Yeah, because to be fair, James Caan, I just see the guy in Misery. Yeah. That film's so good.
Paul Sheldon.
That's it, the writer. Yeah. But you know, it's weird. I think there's one scene in particular in this film where I'm not sure like I'm not sure if it like holds. I don't think you could get away with it today. It's a scene with what's the dude's name? That's his
Peter
name.
Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
no,
that scene. It's really uncomfortable.
Because my brother is a big comedy fan, and he like we were just waiting for the movie to rev up to the Peter Dinklage part, because that is. It's the most iconic scene in this film.
Yeah.
And you know we were waiting for it, and then just I don't know, there was a shot where it was like from behind as Peter Dinklage was walking to the office, and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no. I was like, how's this gonna play out?
Yeah.
Because obviously there's the angry elf thing, but I think you could chalk that up to how Buddy was raised ignorance.
Yeah.
You know,
he doesn't understand.
Because it's not like you know, he doesn't say anything hateful, and it's not as though he was raised like he's not comparing anyone to like a real life perspective, because you know we can't judge this character because he hasn't been raised by humans.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
You know, because if someone defended, you know, if someone defended a human who was a racist and said, oh well, that was just the way they were raised, their family taught them to be racist, you know, I don't think that's not a defense.
Yeah.
But I feel like a defense of this character is that those are the only people he's ever known.
Exactly.
And anyone of that height is an elf in his society. You know, and he's so disconnected from humanity. I feel like, I don't know, because obviously Peter Dinklage, you know, it's not a joke at his expense. He's there.
Yeah,
you know,
like he's willingly participating in this thing.
If someone made a joke about you know, a small person, you know, at their expense, you know, with no one in the cast representing those people, you know, I feel like I feel like that should be taken very badly.
That could be a lot more insulting.
But I feel like you know, if it were insulting, he would have. You know, because if they didn't believe it was funny, you know, whether it's insulting, it's funny. And I feel like that's entirely up to Peter Dinklage, who must have been comfortable with it.
And I think Peter Dinklage in that scene is so funny as well. It's not for me. It's sort of the opposite. Like, to like probably the average viewer finds funny in that. I don't really find funny like the elf comparison. I actually find funny Peter Dinklage's reaction, like when he like, kung fu kicks him stuff.
It's when he runs across the desk, jumps on him, and then it's like the quick cuts of him like flipping him over.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Like
right?
that you know, it's the choreography that's funny, not the dialogue.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think we're able to enjoy that if we recognise that, you know, if it were any other character other than Buddy making that comment, it wouldn't be defensible.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I wish I watched this film again more recently, because it's kind of things like that, what you were saying with the side characters like Emily and people like that. It's make this film so great. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what makes a good Christmas film. Like a lot of Christmas films that the two Christmas films that we reviewed, like they have good side characters in them as well. And I think, you know, especially Gremlins, there's a lot of funny side characters in there, and you know, Doctor Who for me anyway, and then of course Home Alone too. Like it's full of great side characters. So that's another attribute of this film, which is great. And like this film doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, thankfully, and I think that's all down to Jon Favreau, because he knows how to.
He didn't direct this, did he?
Yes.
Johnny Favs? I generally didn't know.
Come on.
I'm slacking here. I know.
And he's in the movie. Do you remember? He plays the doctor. Does the DNA test.
On Buddy?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so he's not really primarily an actor. He puts himself in his own movie. But no one casts Jon Favreau. I don't get like. The only people that cast Jon Favreau is himself.
I
don't get that.
And since like he's quite a funny actor, anything I've seen him in also is just the Marvel movies, of course. Like he's a very talented guy.
Have you not seen Chef?
No, that's one of your favourites, though, isn't
it? we need to do a cooking episode. That is maybe my third favourite film of all time.
Really?
It's genuinely amazing.
I know Johnny Favs is up there with like the celebrity you would want most on to beat, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, because I mean he started the MCU, which you know I've had my problems with. But he started it, made one of its best films.
Credit where credit's due.
He made Chef, he made Elf. He's a genius. He's responsible for The Mandalorian. He's a genius.
I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree with you, mate.
But we've talked about Will Ferrell's Buddy. We've talked about Zooey Deschanel's Jovi. We haven't talked about them together. And I think
it's pretty sweet.
I think it's a really organic and wholesome romance.
I agree.
You know, they go on one date and he's in love with her, and she seems to be in love with him.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
You know, he turned. I mean, I get she can't have been that like his. I mean, it depends. Was she cynical and she turned him around that quickly because of his sort of his general spirit, or was there like an optimistic person just one layer deep?
Well, I quite like the dynamic from Buddy, wherein sort of in life the only two people that he really truly loves is like his love for like Santa, because like he really wants to protect the integrity of Santa in the city, and of course his father Walter. But I actually really like the Emily character. Sorry, not the Emily character. What's somebody else's character called again? Jovi. Like she sort of provides like someone for him to sort of like balance off and share things to as well. And like you said, the relationship is really sweet and organic. I think that's probably due to the. It's weird because they're not two actors that I would think would have good chemistry together.
No, because there's like a 13-year age difference or something.
Yeah, but like I have to give more credit to that probably for Zooey Deschanel for me than Will Ferrell. I think her performance is probably better than the Will Ferrell's.
I think the romantic one, she does more to convince I agree.
I agree.
And you know, we've talked a little about. I mean, you said that Walter is your favorite character.
Yeah, even though he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dick, but yeah, I mean, I had about him, you know, that he's a bit of a dickhead, and Michael only says that he cares about himself. But I mean, why do you think he's working so hard at his job? It's to put food on your table, isn't
Exactly.
it? You know,
exactly,
like he's working to make money to give Michael the best life that he can,
Mhm.
and you know, I guess in his subconscious body, you know, to pursue the.
Yeah.
To give him the best life that he conceivably can have.
Yeah, and we sort of spoke about that too with Peter Dinklage. Like we could see how like distraught that character is after that. Like he like yells at Buddy as well. Like you said, like he's one of those characters where he's sort of like that typical movie character where he like works really hard at his job, but sort of like everything else,
his kids,
everything else in his life is neglected. Yeah. So for that, like it's very cliche, but I think he's a character that needed to be in the film. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, and his job is put at risk when he willingly misprints a book. And me and my brother had the same thought at the same time that you know his solution to solving that is intellectual property theft. You know, because his two head writers like come in after the Angry Elf incident. You know they're brandishing you know Finch's notebook and saying you know oh his first idea is genius and he's like get a storyboard together.
Yeah.
Just stealing it then.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
well,
the classic.
Top lad.
Top lad. He works hard, but he steals ideas. I love that. But yeah, to be fair, like it's not. It's. Do you ever feel like actors like James Caan obviously, like was an actor probably. This is probably. I don't know if it's not. It's definitely not one of his most famous films. I'm guessing like obviously Misery probably would have been up there.
I can only name a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of a thing I wanted to ask you. Like actors like De Niro, like we see him do more like really weird films. Like you know, was it like Dirty Grandpa? He was films like that. He was doing as well.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever think like this?
What was the one where he played the assistant? The intern.
Intern, yeah.
Yeah, it's decent, but it's a big departure from his crime gangster career.
Yeah, I really like De Niro, but like, do you ever? I don't want to use him as an example because I actually really like him, but like, let's say James Caan in this movie, for example, or like actors to that pedigree. Do you ever look and think like, you know, what are you doing with your career? Don't do these kind of movies.
I think it's because they assume that in their older age, they're not going to be as well respected by directors or by audiences, and you know, you're constantly trying to appeal to as wide an audience as possible, and maybe because you're an older person, you think maybe the younger generation won't get you, but you know, I don't know.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, but I don't know why they would be like, oh yeah, you know. Me doing a gangster film now, that doesn't appeal to young people now. What will? A weird sex comedy with Zac Efron where I play his grandfather. Like, why do you think audiences are going to be perceptive to that, but not you playing something that you've you know had and done in your career multiple times over to massive success and acclaim?
Like what Will Ferrell has done. Like I think his comedy here is far better than what it is now.
I think it's where he's involved in the writing.
You think so? Yeah.
Where it causes issues because apparently Jon Favreau and Will Ferrell didn't get on. According to James Caan, like James Caan has said, a sequel won't happen because the two of them didn't get on. But I don't actually know who's responsible for writing Elf. I imagine Jon Favreau had a hand in it because he's very good with dialogue.
Absolutely.
But I only had a few minor points left. I feel like we've talked to death about the situation about why does no one know Santa exists? Who's giving the presents? We talked about that, you know, in Miracle on 34th Street. So if you want to hear that kind of conversation, head over to that review. But Ed Asner, who is famous for Up, Carl Fredricksen, and also J. Jonah Jameson from the Spider-Man animated series, plays Santa in this film. And I think he is great. But you sort of sparked something in my mind the other day when you asked me. Oh, James Caan's an elf, isn't he? He plays Santa. And I said, no, he plays Buddy's dad, Walter. And you said, oh yeah, that's right. And that sort of sparked an idea in my mind that wouldn't it have been really cool if instead of Ed Asner, they had James Caan playing both roles? And so that he's, you know, been responsible, like a responsible father figure in both sides of Buddy's life.
That's a good shot.
He's under like a beard and, you know, he's bald anyway. So I feel like...
That's a good shot,
I feel like if he had played Santa and Walter... he could have had two complete opposite performances, and narratively it would have worked. Maybe that would have made more sense that Buddy was so immediately receptive to having him as his dad, even though he kept like trying to push him away. You know, if he had reminded him of Santa.
Would you have had both characters in that scenario be the same character? Would you have both James Caan performances be the same character then? Like, by day he's Walter, by
No,
night he's Santa?
no. I would have him be Walter the businessman, Dad, Santa. But
I like that.
But then if, you know, Buddy had, you know, if there was a reasoning why Buddy was still, you know, really pushing the relationship despite Walter's reluctance, if he'd said,
That's a good
you
shout,
remind me of someone. Like, I feel like that would have worked narratively.
Absolutely, you know, like 100%, but that's a good shout, yeah.
Do you have anything further on sort of the narrative of the film?
Nothing for me, bud.
I was just going to ask you, do you think a sequel risks damaging the legacy of this film?
Absolutely. But I'd love to see it nonetheless. Like, the thing where, like, the only thing that concerns me about that is, like, what you were saying, Johnny Favs and Will Ferrell don't get along, and Will Ferrell's comedy is sort of, like, devolved somewhat since then, so I don't know if I think Zoe Deschanel would be amazing still, and James Caan as well. But it reminds me, would you like to see a sequel?
I think it would ruin the legacy, but sometimes I think that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because, you know, all of the sequels to Planet of the Apes, aside from the third one, are shit, but no one talks about them. You know, they talk about the amazing twist and narrative of the first film. You know, so I think, you know, if like the best one of the bunch is baked into popular culture far enough, nothing can like remove the popularity of it. So I don't think it would take away from its popularity. The only thing that it could risk is the thing that happened with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, where you see these characters in the future and they're not where you want them to be.
Exactly,
you know, where I would have been happy leaving it at Return of the Jedi with everybody happy having saved the world, but then they're like, ha ha ha. The Empire in essence came back again, and we've killed off all your favorite characters. And I'm like, well, in my mind they lived happily ever after, you know, for the next few years. You know, in reality, they lived happily for a few years, and then the Empire came back in the First Order.
I don't know what you could do with the Buddy character, like, to try and evolve, like, maybe try and have him mold into society or something like that. It's hard to suggest.
Or have his
go to the North
kids
Pole
raised
again.
on the North Pole.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
Because, I mean, we see by the end that him and Joby have had a child, a massive baby as well, like, you know...
not with her, they're like Rocky's kid.
Thankfully. Not a freak. You know, but... You know, I don't think there's much room for a sequel, and it's absolutely unnecessary. You know, if they made it, they're looking for money, and I feel like it would disrespect this film.
That's fair. Any more remarks from you, buddy?
Is your throat feeling dry?
My throat is quite dry. Is yours dry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we've been talking a lot, I think.
Might well be.
But what would you give it out of 10, buddy?
Also might be because we're trying to like rehydrate ourselves with Diet Coke.
Yeah, the sweet taste of Diet Coke.
I hadn't prepared my ratings as I never do, because I know you usually write them at the bottom of your notes.
I do.
But you know, I like to see how our discussion changes my mind. But you know, I'd gone into it thinking, I've seen this so many times over, the comedy's going to be really tired, I'm going to be sick of it, you know, the performances are going to be weak. You know, I went in very pessimistically, I'll be honest. But then, you know, you're always surprised and happy when you go in pessimistically.
Yeah.
You go, this is going to be shit, and when it's just fine, you're like, that was great.
That was great, absolutely.
You know, so I had very low expectations, you know, for the quality of this going forward. I loved it. I still really enjoyed it. The performances are fantastic. The comedy is so much better, and I think the older you get, the more references you get, the more
100%.
richer the experience is. So, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10.
Awesome. I think with every said, man. For me, I think the humour in this is very of its time, but it still ages well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Love all the characters, of course. It's sort of like a definitive Christmas film for me in the sense that, like, how I would imagine, you know, Gremlins was a definitive Christmas film for people in the 80s.
So yeah, it is undeniably a rehash, I think, and I'm sure we'll go into it as to whether we enjoyed one more. And you know, I would say that I've called them of equal quality. Home Alone 2, probably technically a worse film. But whenever we talk about favourite Christmas films, I think you say, what do you enjoy most?
Exactly.
Like, that's the question.
Exactly.
You know, I think when you ask someone what's your favourite film, you do think maybe best film, maybe like balanced with quality, you know, because I don't think you can call someone, I don't think you can call a film your favourite film if you think it's not of great quality.
Yeah.
But I think you can enjoy a film despite its quality.
Yeah, like Voyage of the Damned is probably not a very well made TV movie, but like it's I enjoy it, like, you know what I mean? And that's here I actually love this film so much, man. I honestly did. I watched this with my granddad and we had a blast with it. It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah,
so good.
I mean, yeah, we'll go into talk. Like, do you want to first just address how do you think the quality matches the first film?
It's weird. I watched the first one when I was very young, so it's hard for me to compare. But if I were to say how this film would stack up to, like, how it's received critically,
Mm.
it's way better, I think, than like this movie is really panned and like.
Yeah, massively.
Massively.
Like
I don't know
it has half the Rotten Tomato score. The first was surprisingly low. I have to admit, it was 66. Then the second was 33.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at that. I was in shock, Matthew.
I was too, because this film was directed by Chris Columbus,
Yeah.
and like he's like well known for being like very talented. As
Yeah.
well, and
Responsible for Gremlins as well.
Yeah.
Not directed by, but written by.
Written by, yeah, and like I don't know. I think this film is like it is in some ways a rehash of the first, but I think it sort of holds a bit of nostalgia for me in the sense that it's the last one with Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like, oh, this is the last of the good ones, kind of thing.
Yeah. I've never seen 3 or 4.
No, me neither. But that's how I'd imagined it.
I was initially gonna get us to do this episode was gonna be a Home Alone episode, but then I thought, well, if we just talk about the best Home Alone,
Yeah.
Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2.
Like we've pretty much done our job.
Yeah, and like the thing.
I felt like we needed to do something for once that we enjoy, instead of like
fair.
watching at least half of them be shit.
I think with this movie, buddy, I actually feel like it is just slightly different enough from the first film that works. Like obviously we see him we see Kevin in a different environment from the first film, of course, where he's only in a big city rather than just the walls of his house, and obviously there's like this is probably the film that speaks the most about this, but like. This is the biggest, like, oh, how did he survive that kind of film, or like, how did this happen film, but that's part of the charm for it, that's why I love it, you know what I mean? It's why it's great.
I mean, if we want to talk about the stupidity of the parents quickly,
Yeah.
the first film, specifically the mother, gets quite a lot of public criticism, from movie fans as being one of the worst movie mothers ever.
Yeah.
I mean, the husband is is just as bad. I feel like that does speak to people judging mothers a lot more than dads.
Absolutely.
But he is equally bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like this time they are both quite distressed, unlike in the first film. But also, what normal human would take their kids on a holiday after that? Surely you should be traumatized. And if you're not traumatized enough to not take your kids on holiday again, at least for a few years, yeah, like you don't like your kid enough.
That's it. That's about it. Because I sort of said about like, are the parents and the family like intentionally like
intentionally trying to bin him off.
Yeah, like you kind of feel bad. Like what?
Oh no, he's in New York.
Yeah. Oh no.
They pointed the killers in his direction.
Yeah, but by the end of the film, like and this is a situation like I think the whole family theoretically should probably be looking for, but only one person goes out.
I think we were gonna say in prison.
Well, but like just the mother goes out. They're in Miami, in the Oak Plaza Hotel. But one of my if not my favorite cinematic line of all time is when Kevin goes into the bathroom and we see Uncle, I don't know what his name is, but Frank, and he goes, "Get out of here, you nose little pervert! I'm gonna slap you, silly," which I quoted on your present on the little label. So I did.
That's good. I'm sorry I didn't see that.
That's quite alright. It's a very strange line. I kind of think it's how he hits him.
There was a stranger line before that, which was why.
What his dad said.
No. What Kevin is speaking to his younger brother in this film and his younger brother in real life, I believe.
Okay.
I think is it his cousin in this film and his brother in real life? Fuller, the kid with the glasses who pissed himself. Yeah. I think that's his cousin in the film.
Oh really? Okay. Cool.
But it's his real brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he says to him, I believe, that Uncle Frank has warned him about going into the bathroom while he's having a shower, because if he peeked, then he would no longer be a man. And I was like, what kind of nonsense shit is that? Like, I asked my brother, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah, I was like, does he mean... I was like, I don't know. I was like, is that...
I was gonna go with.
I was like, is that a weird Nancy subtext? Is it
genitals?
Is it homophobia? And then my brother cleared it up with, he thinks my brother says that he seems to think it was that if he saw Uncle Frank's huge dick, he would feel so emasculated by the size of it. He'd be like, oh, nothing, At 10 years old, I'm
not thinking
it's a fair reaction. I'm not thinking I've got an elephant trunk down there.
This is the funniest podcast we've done in ages. Uncle Frank is just garbage, but I tell you who is.
His whole family is. Yeah, his family is trash. And are you going to talk about Buzz for a second?
Well, I was going to talk about Buzz. I actually forgot that Mrs. Deagle isn't in this film.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Don't recall that character.
Yeah. This is funny.
Yeah, I think we talk a lot about things that the film doesn't intend to be funny, but we find hilarious.
Yeah.
And the times where they're trying to make a joke, but it's painfully unfunny.
Yeah.
And one such instance, which I find funny because it's so unfunny, is that Kevin's giving a solo performance in their church choir, or maybe their school choir, and there's a moment where the entire audience starts pissing themselves laughing, and then you see, and it's referred to as a prank later, Buzz holds some candles near his head. Like, he has 2 candles in his hand, and he like just holds them like that, like still just...
Yeah.
And then he like pretends to drum on his head.
All the audience,
candles,
like,
and
all these men...
and I'm like, it's not because we're like not Americans. I'm like, what?
Oh
It's
my
like,
god! Oh my god! Like, that is so true. Like, everyone, and then, like, to be fair, Kevin's right to just like push him.
Yeah,
because everyone's
fair enough.
laughing at him, and like,
I mean, it does end up with like the pianist getting like head caved in.
yeah, like, on the Kevin character, I wanted to ask you this because I think as a kid we would probably think when this film, like, what we do in Kevin's situation.
Yeah.
I would not be as like confident or like as like happy-go-lucky as he is. Obviously that's part of the character,
Yeah.
but like I would be absolutely terrified. I'd be like, go to the police station. Absolutely. What would you be?
I mean, I wouldn't know how to use a credit card. 2, if I did, I still wouldn't use it. 3, the killers would have killed me. I have no engineering know-how, and I don't have the sadistic instinct to willfully harm people. Especially when, like, because in the first film, I sort of read an Instagram post about this, because people are frequently saying, Kevin's a sadistic bastard. Kevin's a future killer. He's a serial killer. This is a prequel to Jigsaw.
Yeah.
But
that'll be funny.
But I thought about it for a little bit, and the first film is about him defending his house from robbers who could potentially harm him. In this film, they go to they go to rob a toy store. So he's preventing crime. That has nothing to do with him. So he has like lured people to harm them. Like, they've committed like no crime against him. So he's just taken it, the first one was defending his home, which as an American he has the legal right to do with whatever violence necessary. But in this film, he's just a vigilante. Like, I don't think he's doing it to be a good person, but it is vigilante.
It goes a bit far for me.
Like this is a bit sadistic, this one.
It is.
And these men are dead. They are deceased.
They should be dead. Well,
they're dead.
Marv should be dead from the first brick that hit his head.
Yeah.
He survives like 5 of those and then keeps going. Like,
that brick gag is better than, like, people say shit about this film, but like that is better than any of the home gags in the first film.
The one thing I will say about that scene, like, the scene that sort of made me think, oh, that's a little bit sadistic, is when Joe Pesci's character, Harry, like, we see that his hat has caught fire.
Yeah.
And obviously we've seen previously that Kevin has like filled the toilet with like flammable liquid. So whenever he goes to like dunk his head in the bathroom, he should be so dead. But like,
I mean, we see their skeletons at a point. Like, it's just a bit of fun.
It is a bit.
But dead.
Super dead. And the one thing, there's a lot of side characters in this year extremely well known in cinematic lore, and one of them is Donald Trump. He makes a cameo in here. I actually didn't realise. I thought he was in more of this film than he actually is. He just has one. Well, is that? That isn't his hotel in real life, is it?
I don't know, because he does own hotels. Like, he obviously has Trump Tower, but he has a line of hotels. So maybe, because I had read that he had given permission for them to film in his hotel in exchange for a cameo, but it doesn't appear to be branded a Trump hotel. It's specifically it's a Plaza hotel, but. Maybe that's the location. Maybe they used one of his locations, but yeah, that is like I missed it actually, but I've seen it before. Obviously, I turned away. My brother just went, "Oh."
Yeah, I know.
He was horrified. But we've talked about the fact that they left Kevin behind. But at least this time it's his fault. The first time it's just them. It's just neglect. It's just neglect.
Yeah.
Here it's a little bit his fault, but just the reason that they have to go on holiday the fact that they have to go on holiday every Christmas indicates that you don't really like your family, because you're uncomfortable staying in the same location with them every year, and just having that be the event. They need to be somewhere to enjoy it.
That's like, how did you feel about the scenario in which he gets lost, where in the airport, like the airport seems so chill about it? Like, is that your dad? Yeah, just let him board the plane. I thought it actually did work. To be fair, I thought like that's reasonably believable. Like if the boy like recognises his dad. Like obviously, like
Yeah.
who are they to say no? But I thought it was reasonably believable. Like I could understand if you're like a little critical of it.
Yeah, I know. I think their biggest concern is probably safety, so they would rather risk it not being his dad and get him there rather than like keep him behind and potentially risk him losing his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's somewhat confident, I think it's probably the right call.
Yeah.
But for me, I have no idea what separates the quality of the first film and this film for critics, because the goofy tone, the quality of the writing and the acting is exactly the same as the first.
Absolutely.
What love it or hate it, it's sort of cringy, goofy. The dialogues, there's a lot of criticism with like recent teenage films where the teenagers speak like fully grown like philosophy students or something.
Yeah. The one character in this film that really would have terrified me as a kid is the pigeon lady.
Yes.
Now she's one of those side characters where I actually really like, but throughout the film, like she's one of those characters where I thought she'd just be in one scene, but she's in a lot more than I thought she'd be. Do you know what I mean? Like she's in it quite a lot.
Yeah.
She's she's kind of an integral character to Kevin's like growing up, I suppose, and stuff like that. So no, I all positive remarks from me around her.
I can't unsee her as Piers Morgan now since that joke was made.
Was there a joke?
Yeah, because every year Piers Morgan has to go on TV and publicly state, "I am not the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2."
I don't think that looks similar to you.
Yes. Like 1-to-1 exact person.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
They look exactly the same. But my favourite thing about this film is, well, maybe not my favourite film, but a surprising thing about this film, because a lot of people say this film is, lacking in heart, lacking in a message.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, the fundamental message about the film, as Kevin states sort of quite clunkily, he says, basically, you have no idea what kind of person someone is until you know them. You can't judge people based on appearance. And for a kids film, I think that's a pretty important lesson.
Absolutely.
That, every child needs to learn.
Absolutely.
You can't be afraid of all strangers, because a stranger might just be a friend you haven't met yet.
Absolutely.
If they look dodgy, I don't know. I don't want to.
If they look shady.
I don't want to give a mixed message, because obviously people can be dangerous, but people who look perfectly respectable can be very dangerous.
Very true,
so you can't link the way someone looks to how dangerous they are.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the level of how you know them, but this film is basically telling you don't judge a book by its cover.
That's a good message.
And I think for a kids film, great message.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you. Like there's one scene in this film as well where I kind of think is the film trying to suggest that Marv and Harry are intentionally shit criminals? I suppose it is.
Oh yeah, no,
100%.
they're fundamentally terrible
like
at crime.
Sharing their Toy Store heist plan with Kevin is and it's quite funny as well, because like you see, like I actually don't really want them to. I don't want them to murder Kevin. Obviously that would be bad, but like I kind of want them to like be successful in the way, because I really like their characters.
Like Kevin, I find like fundamentally unlikable. Like Kevin is not what I enjoy about these films.
Yeah,
it's them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Harry and Marv, and them getting their asses kicked. Like I like those characters and I like seeing them get foiled, but I do agree with you. Maybe there would be a bit of room for them to actually succeed in the crime.
I actually think a potential. I would have loved if the third film actually sort of was, Kevin, Marv, and Harry sort of together and stuff, and then maybe they were facing off against like an actual serious criminal who was like seriously like evil kind of thing. Obviously, Harry and Marv are they're bad dudes. They're like inappropriately touching ladies and stuff like that.
Well, no, that was Kevin.
Oh, yeah, that was Kevin, wasn't it? Actually, yeah, that was Kevin. That's a good point.
I mean, they both get knocked out for it, but it was Kevin.
That's a good point. But obviously, it's part of me thinks they probably wouldn't have killed him, but you never know, because they had the gun ready.
Yeah.
So,
would you have rather had new antagonists for this film, or do you like seeing them back?
I like seeing them back, but I like the way the film acknowledges the coincidence that like, oh look who it is. It's fun.
I would have rather had a new kid and the same villains, because as I said, what I like about this is Harry and Marv. It's not Kevin.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you were going to switch one out, could have been Macaulay Culkin.
Absolutely.
Like I really like Macaulay Culkin in this, and I think there's nothing genius about the dialogue, but the way he delivers it is like with complete glee and enthusiasm. He's like doing all these insane manic things. But he's having a ball of the time, and I think the character is unlikable. Because of certain elements, and how he, I mean, his family are dickheads. But sometimes you have to look at your behaviour and question, why are they a dickhead to only you?
Yeah.
And he thinks, the first film sort of has you believe that like he's sort of outcast because he's different, but maybe, you know, maybe like he's you know, like you know what I'm trying to say, like
kind of not
like
deserving, but
like
he kind of.
well, he thinks, you know, oh, my family hate me and I hate them because they hate me, but it might be they hate you because you hate them.
Yeah, that kind
you know,
of scenario,
like,
yeah,
and we just haven't seen another person's perspective.
Yeah.
Because his mum seems to love him despite being a bit neglectful. His dad seems to give
Uncle
like
Frank
a
loves
modicum
him.
of a shit. And Buzz just a dickhead, but you know, there's a bit of a turnaround at the end.
There is, and it's kind of thing like. You know, not that obviously I don't side with the criminals in this case, but like they're obviously.
It sounds like you side with the criminals, man.
It does sound like that, but I know, I promise I don't. But there's a lot of you know, I've talked a lot about in recent podcasts about side characters who I really enjoy, and there's one here. It's the toy store owner, who, at first you think he says to Kevin for being so generous, take something from the tree, Kevin. If I was a kid, I'd think, what could it be? It could be a really like a cool like toy car or something or whatever. But no, he's like, no. Take a turtle dove.
Maybe he saw because he's clearly a caring individual who cares about other people.
He would
like a lesson.
That's true.
You know, something with a bit of meaning because he seems to care about.
I
people.
was really surprised that Kevin went into the toy store with a credit card and only got like 3 things.
Yeah, because he's, you know, he runs up a $967 you
Bill
know,
for those
food like deliver what's it called
it was like
food
room charge maybe,
room service, you know, a room service charge. But then spends $23
at
the toy store.
Like, what? Come on, mate! Like if that was me as a kid, I'd probably be like, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I have to say, if I was savvy enough to know how to use a credit card at that age, I would have been frugal with it. You know, I would have like gone to McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have been thinking, you know,
McDonald's.
Yeah. You know, I would have been, you know, because if he knows, oh, I'm lost, I should go to a hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a credit card. But then, you know, I'm gonna hold back on how many toys I buy.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'd spend loads on the toys and then hold back on food back on the food. And I love how convoluted, and people have pointed to this as a negative, but I find it hilarious how convoluted they make it so that he has a house to build stuff in. You know, because you know they reference characters that we never see, like his uncle that lives in New York but is away, and his house is being renovated, so it has all these, you know, essentially weapons in it.
Yeah.
But you know, are just, you know, tools to renovate the house.
And stuff,
so it's the most convoluted process.
I love
but
that.
I think it's hilarious.
I think it's really good. There's 2 scenes in this film I think are some of the funniest scenes ever for me. It's when like Kevin's using like the inflatable toy in the shower, and like the hotel staff think like that's his dad, and then when he replays the line, "Get out of here, you little pervert, I'm gonna slap you silly," like that's a really funny moment for me. Also the scene where I was like, oh, that's it, maybe pushing it a bit, but I still find hilarious, is when like the hotel staff, like Kevin uses the TV to sort of suggest how there's someone in the room shouting at them, like, stop right there, I had to give you 3 seconds to get out of here. It's like the Tommy gun. It's so funny. I love that, man. But no, it seems like that like this one was just, if I were to describe it in one word, it'd be charm. Like this one has so much charm to it, and it's not necessarily integrally Christmas. Like Christmas it's set during Christmas and stuff, but like I think it's such a great classic and at Christmas you can watch and just laugh at. It's just great, but laugh with as well.
I'm glad that I've seen this film so many times, because I'll be honest, I was watching this around 1 a.m. last night and I got to the final act and like my eyes were closing and my head was dipping down, and I lost probably a few minutes of it, but you know, I obviously got the whole essence. Yeah. And seeming as this is my choice, you know that I know it well enough.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, to be fair, it's all the lead up to the you know, bashing, and then you know that the criminals are going to get bashed, so it doesn't really matter how they get bashed.
Yeah.
You know, it's really the story leading up to that. So I feel like if you miss that, it's not integral.
The final scene's so well edited as well. To be fair, it feels like it blends in so well with each other. I think like from scene to scene, and it's great. It's practical effects as well.
Oh, absolutely. Good. And you know, if we want to talk a little bit about Buzz, we talked about the fact that it ends with him, you know, with a bit of a turnaround. He allows Kevin to open the first present, and I think that's really sweet that he allows him to do that. And I honestly think their relationship speaks to a true brother, you know, relationship experience, because you know it's a similar relationship I have with my brother, where you know there's a bit of bantering. Some could call it bullying. You know, like certainly
back and forth.
Certainly bantering from the. Bantering, let's call that. Let's be generous. You know, between the older and the younger sibling, and the younger sibling. You know,
I think every brother's.
I think that's commonplace, but you know, I think you do. For usually, I think unless it's genuinely abusive, which is a whole different scenario. You know, I think you can tell the difference quite easily. But you know, in a sort of in a situation like this, you know there's love there.
Absolutely, like brothers fight, but
they
they still get on, and I think what you said, mate, is great. Like I love what you said there. I think you're 100% right. Like the Buzz character, I thought he'd be in the film a lot more than actually is. He's not really in the film that much, but for what he was in, I think the actor was like, like the character really annoyed me, and I think that was obviously intentional. But like I think that relationship was neat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, looking in on that, you're like, in 5 years they're gonna be great mates. You know, like
because
you see
broadcasting.
Yeah, you see like the grassroots of that. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
But you know, is grassroots is that?
That's a phrase. That's a term.
It's a phrase.
That's
yeah.
a term.
Yeah, like
we'll go with it.
Yeah, okay. But you know, a fun fact about the first Home Alone, and because we're not talking about that, I'll tell you now. There's a scene in the film where Buzz is talking about his girlfriend, and he shows a picture of her, and you know, all the boys are like, "Oh my gosh, she's so ugly."
Oh, wow.
You know, like that's the joke. But they thought that was such an insensitive thing that they couldn't possibly have an actual picture of a girl being taunted for her appearance. So one of the production crew's sons was dressed up as a girl,
really?
And then they took a photo of the boy dressed as a girl, so that it wasn't, you know, like insulting the appearance of an actual young girl.
That's quite
just a fun fact.
That is quite sweet, I suppose, as well. Like
you know, that they were considerate enough to like not ridicule a young child in their formative years.
That's true. I didn't know that. Is that actually in the film, or is that cut from the film?
I mean in the first film that's a scene in the film.
Oh, I forgot that scene.
Because Buzz is like, you know, Buzz is one of those like typical young teenage boys who has like, you know, like Harleys, like with like girls in bikinis, like on motorcycles, you know, all over the bedroom. So like he would just be like, "Oh, here's my girlfriend."
Yeah,
you know,
like that's kind of weird. Really, like when I sort of see movies from like the early 2000s and 90s and stuff, where like all the guys had like posters of like, you know, models and stuff. And that seems quite weird to me.
Like, because presumably, you know, you have no money at that age, so you're like, "Oh, Dad, can you go out and pick me up a picture of a girl in a bikini on a Harley?" And they're not like, "What?"
What? Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, if that was a request that I'd made, they would have been like,
do you ever like, have you ever seen anyone buy like a copy of Zoo magazine or something?
Is that
like, it's like a, I don't know if it's a pornographic magazine.
Like a Playboy?
It's like a Playboy style magazine.
I sort of get with that scenario, you would be embarrassed, but you know what I don't get is people who are embarrassed buying condoms. Someone to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, like,
I would slam them down that counter.
Yeah, like
like Joe Weller talks a lot about, you know, things like that, you know, where people are just like sliding their ones, you know, that may as well say like tiny cock on them. You know, like, like I would just.
I would slam the podcast.
What?
This is going to the podcast, isn't it?
Whatever.
Good, awesome. I love that.
I didn't say anything about myself.
Yeah, no, of course.
I'm just saying if I was in that situation, I think that's one to be proud of.
Absolutely. Like it's.
You'd saunter in there.
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll take 3 cartons.
3 cartons. What the fuck? Anyone wants to? Let me get on this. What we're doing today.
Well, you know, the last sort of scene of the film is Peter McAllister finding out that you know. That Kevin has run up this massive bill, and you know, you hear him yelling at Kevin about the price. I mean, you've just lost your child, and he's probably traumatized because, you know, you've abandoned him.
Yeah.
Although accidentally, you know, you've abandoned him, and he may be traumatized for his entire life.
Yeah.
I think you can firm the bill. You seem pretty wealthy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you can firm like a few grand lost.
Exactly. That seems like, oh, maybe his dad doesn't
like. You probably spent more on flights getting over to New York. Like, come on.
I know. I had the same thought. That being said, I absolutely love this one. This movie, man, is so good, isn't it?
Yeah, I massively enjoy this film. I don't think I can say I couldn't go as far as to say it's a perfect film. You know, I think other films that we have watched today I could defend as a perfect film. This one I can't. You know, it has its faults. So I would give the film a 9 out of 10.
I'd also go for a 9. It's so funny. Like, I think it's so well edited as well. Like, some of the humor's great. It's really well paced, I think, as well. To be fair, and 9 for, maybe not 9 for quality, of course, but 9 for enjoyment for sure for me. And then shall we pause it there? And
so we're going to take a quick break to just recharge the cameras. We'll be for you guys back in just a second.
Back in just a second
with our review of Voyage of the Damned.
Yes.
Doctor Who Christmas special.
Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are enjoying the podcast so far. See you in 1 second.
So welcome back, everybody, to the Movie Mates podcast Christmas special.
Yes.
I did not realize we were recording. I hope Matthew has cut those previous few minutes where I was just chatting shit So
I will.
yes. So I mean, because it would just be boring to the viewer. I wasn't even chatting anything interesting. We're talking about editing software.
Editing software. I know.
So
yeah,
we have charged the battery. We hope it lasts.
physically and literally.
Yes.
We've had food. We've had lovely food provided by Callum's family. So shout out to Callum's family for listening. Much appreciated.
Big up Harry.
Big up Harry. And yeah, we're going to move on to my favourite Christmas film. I feel a bit pathetic saying that, to be honest, but anyway, it is the Doctor Who Christmas TV movie, Voyage of the Damned. Now, this is like so nostalgic for me. I mean, I love this film. Do you like it or not really?
Well, to those who have forgotten, it's basically the Titanic spaceship.
The Titanic spaceship, David Tennant one, with
Callum and
Matthew. Yeah.
Yes. So I really did enjoy this,
Good.
and I think an integral part of that is David Tennant.
So good.
Who, for me, is my favourite Doctor.
Same here.
Matt Smith is nearly on the level. I think he has the most, Matt Smith has the most unique look and the best companions, but David Tennant has the raw charisma.
He does, he has the raw charisma. This is probably one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes, for sure. And it's not something that would usually work, because here, like, the Doctor doesn't have a companion, so it's quite unusual, like, it's just him on his own.
I mean, that's not abnormal for a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Although, sometimes, because Matt Smith, I think, sort of fell down in the fact that his companions overshadowed him, because you watch, whenever, at least for the case for me, I watched Doctor Who for Amy and Rory.
Absolutely.
And especially, they're integral to the storyline with River Song.
Yeah.
And that was an entire season arc, so basically that became their show.
Yeah.
But David Tennant really never had that. He had Rose, Martha, Donna. Donna was pretty interesting, but he never felt overshadowed in the way that Matt Smith became.
I agree, yeah.
So I don't think his companions are sorely missed in this episode.
No, I agree with you. Like, one thing I really love about this one is that it I think it takes place in between the Martha Jones season and then the Donna Noble season, so it's like in between, so it's like peak David Tennant.
Because we're introduced to Donna's grandfather in this episode.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Wilfred, who's like, I think that's just a I'm not sure if the creators like Russell T Davies intended for that for that character to continue on, but yeah, it's really interesting that's the same character as well.
I think it was intentional because in the in the credits it shows you the clips from the upcoming season and he's in that, so if they didn't know that, I guess that he would have been taken out in the edit.
That's pretty neat. That's really neat. Yeah, like the one thing about this episode is that to be fair, we're introduced to a lot of characters really, really quickly. Like, there's so many, like Astrid, who's kind of a nose character, and people like that. And, you sort of see, like, you can definitely tell something's off with, like, the Titanic ship, with, like, the hosts and stuff, because, like, they're a bit spooky, if that's the word. But, like, I think the design of them is so cool. Like, it looks really good. It's kind of like a person in a costume, but it still looks great.
I feel like in this, I don't think we're going to have the opportunity very much to talk about Doctor Who, because, we obviously talk about movies a lot more than we do television, so I feel like we should just go through sort of standard Doctor Who chat as well.
Absolutely.
Is this your favourite TARDIS?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's my favourite Doctor, my favourite TARDIS. Martha's my favourite companion though.
Oh.
Which is better. Yeah, I love Martha.
She's the worst?
No, I like Martha. I think the worst is probably Donna? I don't know, maybe Rose.
Maybe Rose, because like, some of them are interesting, some of them are more funny.
Donna's nice.
Rose isn't either. Like Donna is funny.
Martha's got the smarts.
I don't know. I never saw any with Clara Oswald. I tuned out when Amy and Rory left.
Amy and Rory were like top tier.
Yeah, I haven't watched Doctor Who since. Like Peter Capaldi, never watched him live.
Either.
But I agree. This is my favorite TARDIS. Like Matt Smith's is clean and modern, but I sort of like this one because I feel like it embodies Doctor Who in sort of like, because it's like steampunk and it feels like a used universe in the way that like Blade Runner and Star Wars did.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. And like, one thing I like about this episode is that I think it's actually really well paced. Like, it feels like a movie to me. I don't know whether it does to you, but it feels like a movie to me. But also, like, that it's Doctor Who, but not in like it's the Doctor, but not in the environment we're used to him being. Like, having the Titanic as a spaceship is pretty cool for me anyway. And like, I remember the cliffhanger at the end of season 3 with Martha's season, where like the Titanic busts through the TARDIS and stuff like that. I suppose that was a teaser for the Christmas episode as well, but. Like, I think maybe what lets this... And I'm going to get the negatives out of the way. I think
to be fair, negatives have nothing to do with your enjoyment.
Yeah,
it's just recognition. Like, because you would be biased if you didn't point out that there are issues.
That's fair, yeah.
I
think what maybe lets this episode down is that... I think it's Max Capricorn is his name, the villain. He's like... It's just like a floating head and like a weird sort of... like, I don't know, like robotic
Yeah, it's clearly just a guy squatted in a box.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you prefer like a historic Who villain?
Yeah.
Like if it had been like Davros rolling out?
Someone like that, yeah. Like this guy's got like a weird like cheeky grin and stuff, like a flashing gold tooth and stuff. He looks cool, like the character looks cool, but yeah, I would have preferred like a classic Who villain, like a Davros or someone like that. I think would be way better.
I mean, I thought it worked, and that's namely because I know you like all sort of facets of Doctor Who, but this is sort of my favorite, where they do exploration but with no non-humanoid aliens, because not for me. Like anytime they, meet the Sultarans, the Slitheen, it's not for me whatsoever.
Do you prefer like the human style ones?
Yeah, I prefer humanoid or.
What about Cybermen?
Well, like, see, I never really like the arcs. I prefer when it's a one-off story. So my two favorite Doctor Who episodes are probably I believe it's Vampires in Shakespeare.
Yeah, that's a good one. Martha one. That one.
Yeah, and then the Matt Smith episode with Vincent Van Gogh.
That's a really
like
good one.
Those that didn't involve aliens, did it?
No, I don't think so.
What was the point of that episode?
I don't know. I remember that obviously the.
No, it isn't. It's an invisible alien attacking him, but it gets so little play, and it's really more about the history.
Oh, okay.
So that's sort of where I value it.
Yeah.
Like where it's historical with some travel. That is my favorite Doctor Who.
I think this one's definitely my top 2 favorite Doctor Who episodes for me, because this one's like embodies everything I love about the series. Because this was like just at the end of the Martha Jones run as well, which I loved, and like I just love all the characters here. Just in this, one thing about the Doctor Who is, well, specifically the Tennant era, is like there were so many great side characters as well, that were like brought across from different seasons and stuff like that. And I kind of felt like when David Tennant left the role, it felt like all those cast members did. That's kind of the sad thing about Doctor Who. Like obviously it's a continuing show, like it's probably won't end for a number of years, but the fact that like it is an ever-changing cast, I think that's a weakness as well sometimes, because if you've got a really good cast like the Matt Smith era, the David Tennant era, you should probably hold on to it. That's why they're probably bringing John Barrowman back.
Yeah.
As well, but
I love watching stuff at this time because it all looks terrible and it's all hilarious.
It is. It looks so bad.
There's one scene where we'll talk about all the deaths because each one is hilarious. Yeah. But there's one scene where like the asteroids are hitting the Titanic, and I mean the effects are so bad and the editing is like so quick and cut. But like I don't know, it was really effective in building tension, and like
it was, yeah.
I think with Elf. It's just so funny to watch something of the time and be like, that's terrible, but I really appreciate it. Like, cause, I mean, not everything has to be good, and it's TV special effects from 2008.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, you should have low expectations anyway, and it is awful.
It is bad.
But it's like,
I know. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. But that's exactly what it is. And if you're gonna go on to the death, like there are so many hilarious ones. Like to be fair, did you ever watch Tracy Baker as a kid?
Yeah.
You know the guy
Duke.
Duke.
Yeah.
That's where I knew him from. I was like, where's that face from? Their deaths. Was it Duke and like Finn or something, or Foon?
Oh well, I mean Duke was his name in Tracy Baker.
Oh wow.
His name in here, I wrote it down, Morvin.
Morvin and Foon, wasn't there something?
Yeah.
Their deaths are quite funny.
Quite hilarious.
They're quite hilarious.
Well,
a little sad.
His more so because he just like leans on a railing and just dies. Like with no build up, no one cares. Like,
yeah,
because he was one of my favorite characters, and I remember as a child being heartbroken.
Absolutely.
And then as an adult,
I
see myself laughing.
Yeah, I know.
No, because I was like, oh my god, Duke's dead.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh.
Yeah, no,
and like no one cared. Like they moved on immediately. Like people were so more emotional about Foon. They were emotional about Banakafalata.
You got it. You got
they
it.
just didn't care about it. It was so funny. It
was funny, and like one thing I will give this episode credit for is that it keeps characters in the running who I didn't expect to be in the running. If you know what I mean, like the characters of Mr. Copper and then the arrogant, like suave, James Bond type character. I thought they were like sure people to die, but like it turns out the Mr. Copper character is like reasonably important towards the end as well. So
which is why it surprised me that this sort of isn't like referenced throughout the series, because this seems like the sort of event that would like haunt the Doctor, because it ends with like him only being able to save 3 people.
Yeah, like that's so. I'm gonna say that anyway. But yeah, like that's the one thing I quite like about this episode is that it doesn't. In ways it feels like classic Who, in the ways it doesn't. Like there's no time travel here, really, and it's just like one thing. It's kind of like I kind of like the Flash TV show, wherein some episodes in there are really great, like box episodes, where it's just like a really great episode in the middle of it. I know it's not maybe the best episode, but the one that I had sort of saw that I remembered was like when like there's a nuclear explosion in Central City in like season 4, like the Flash has to go and take anyone in the flash speed and stuff. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah.
Like I kind of liken it to that. Like this episode feels very much its own thing, self-contained. Exactly, I love that. It's so great. Obviously, like it's set at Christmas as well, so there's obviously like a lot of Christmas themes and stuff in there as well. And we haven't really mentioned Kylie Minogue, but I think she's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, you know, yeah, we can definitely talk about her. Like I think I expected so little from her acting performance, you know, because I remembered that she was in it, but I had no memory of the quality of her performance, and I thought I've never seen her act in anything else. I imagine it's not great, and I think that they missed the opportunity. Like they did play her version of what is it? What one is it that she sings? Is it Winter Wonderland or
something like that?
or
yeah,
something like that? But like you can hear her version being played, which is I mean in universe quite weird.
Yeah.
But you know, I do think they sort of wrongfully passed up the opportunity to make her like the crew performer, because then you know they could have had her do a quick musical performance, because why would you hire Kylie Minogue otherwise? You know, because she is a surprisingly good actress, but you know it's not like, you know, she's not name recognized as an actress.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons, buddy, why I think we like this episode so much is probably because there's no companions that like slow it down or drag it down. Some of the Doctor Who episodes that I love the most are the ones where it doesn't have a companion, pretty much.
Yeah, I think because it can be dragged down by continuity.
Exactly.
In that case.
Like, do you remember the ones that followed this, where it was like the Christmas special where he meets a man who thinks he's the Doctor?
No.
No, that's a good one.
No.
Do you remember the one where like the bus gets stranded in the desert?
No.
Oh, there's some good ones.
Is that a Christmas episode?
Yeah. Well, some of these are the ones that led up before until there's like regeneration and stuff.
Okay.
But like a lot of the I'm trying to think of another Christmas episode. There's like obviously the ones with Rose and stuff as well, but.
Oh yeah, I obviously remember the one with the where he gets his hand cut off.
Oh, as well. Oh yeah, that's his first one. Yeah, that's a good one. But you know, I think what makes this one so special, like the score in this is actually really good as well, and it's just, I don't know, I just have a lot of nostalgia for it. So it's probably that for the most part speaking.
How do you think the hosts rank among sort of historic Who villains? Like, because I really like, as you said, their design and their deadliness, because the Daleks they have a pole to exterminate people with, and they're always screaming exterminate, but they rarely do. But like these host people,
Ruthless.
and the captain of the ship end up killing like hundreds of people.
The captain of the ship, that's a good wee twist in there actually, because he ends up being a bit of a because he's got his own like evil motive, but not really related to anything else. Like isn't it?
Yeah, I mean he's just doing it for money.
Yeah,
also, I mean, like it's not like he was giving a subtle nuanced performance. He was like, oh, hello, like Joe Weller. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
And he's just like,
my name.
He was just like, yeah, like he's like everyone got to get out of here for no reason. He's like, oh no, I have to stay, and I'm like, he's gonna shoot him.
One thing that I really like about this episode is that it builds, like you were saying earlier, but it builds the tension really well. Like we see throughout the episode progresses, like the amount of survivors in the ship is slowly dwindling one by one, because like the hosts are like taken out pretty much, which is good. And like you were saying, the hosts, they're ruthless as well, and it's weird because the final battle with Max Capricorn is absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah,
it's so bad.
Yeah,
but I love it.
Yeah, and can I just say that like Bana Kapalata,
what a hero.
Ladies man.
Ladies, absolutely.
My hero.
Because as well.
Secures a date with Callum Minogue in 5 seconds.
Absolutely.
And then with the least number of lines makes you care most about his death.
I know, it's that, because like, I think he ends up being a cyborg or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a cyborg, and then he, like, did you rewatch this for this?
No, I didn't know.
I
know.
But yes, he used his he used his EMP heart to destroy as many hosts as possible.
What a guy. Good liquor as well.
I mean, like, Kylie Minogue, like, announces that they're engaged, but he just, like, asks her for a drink, like...
Yeah.
I don't...
He moves fast, that man, but no, that... Because a lot of the side... I think it is probably intentional that the side characters that you like the most die first. I guess that's because I got Bana Kapalata and then Morven and Foon as well, so... Yeah, like, there's a lot of deaths in this episode, I think. Like, all of them are funny.
Yeah.
But, like... I don't know, especially Max Capricorn's eye is brilliant.
Yeah.
I didn't feel so sad about that one, but really did.
They talk about the meaning of the Christmas holidays because Mr. Copper, the older gentleman, claims to have a degree in Earthology. And we,
Earthonomics or something?
Earthonomics or...
Ethology, something like that.
Whatever. And it turns out that he's actually been lying, so, all the bullshit that he's been spouting has been incorrect. But, they talk about the meaning of Christmas, and the Doctor mentions that he witnessed the birth of Christ because he had the last room at the inn. Doctor's only meant to be 903.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point actually.
You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, if Jesus was born just over 900 years ago, I feel like there'd be a tapestry or some shit about it.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's a good point.
You know, I mean, I think recorded history would be more concrete on that. If it was only 900 years ago.
That whole scene with like Mr. Copper, like I think he spouts something like about like turkeys and Hungary and stuff like that. It is quite funny, and it's quite. I think that's the only scene where it's on Earth, actually, isn't it? Apart from like you see the Queen, don't you? Like at the end,
you see
like,
you see the Queen
and stuff.
Yeah, thanking Doctor for saving the palace.
Have you ever seen the episode where this sort of the plot of Voyage of the Damned is sort of shown, but like what would have happened if Donna not let the Doctor, like the Turn Left episode? Have you seen that one?
I have seen it, maybe not for 10 years.
Yeah, it's a good one, but it sort of shows you like how like this special probably was pretty big in the Doctor Who canon as well. Like is like I think it was pretty popular as well, like as compared to the other specials or whatever. But it's confusing why they didn't make Kylie Minogue a companion. I mean, like I know they killed her character off, but I think it would have been interesting.
No, I was massively disappointed. I mean, I think her acting performance is better than Billie Piper's.
I agree.
You know,
I
I thought she was a really great character, and it was a shame that they killed her. And I wish that we'd seen this haunt the Doctor more, because
absolutely,
you know, because he loses companions all the time. You know, usually because they want to get on with their life, but he doesn't usually lose someone through death, and he doesn't usually lose someone that he had a romantic interest in.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, he rarely sort of like falls in love with aliens. And you know, she was a humanoid alien.
Yeah.
So I feel like they had more of a shot, and I feel like it should have hung over him a bit more.
Yeah, like for me, the ending of the TV movie with him and Mr. Copper is actually really heartwarming. I actually really like that, because you never really see his character again. But I wish he was continued on as well, his character, because there's a lot of side characters in here I quite liked as well.
It turns out that he has £1 million on a credit card. Can you live off a credit card? Like because a credit card means it's hypothetical money.
Yeah.
So how can you buy everything with hypothetical money that you never plan on paying off? I guess he just plans to outlive his debt.
Yeah, maybe. Like, did you know his character is actually like he started? Do you know like there's a method in the future Doctor Who Donna series where like, you know, when like all the companions from the Ten area come together, that episode, like in that episode, like it said that like his actual character had started some sort of like foundation where like it was like he worked with Torchwood or something, which is like a cool little name drop in there as well. But like it's sort of weird, because I actually think this would have been a perfect story for John Barrowman's character, Captain Jack, to be in. Like it seems like a really great sort of David Tennant, John Barrowman type tale, actually, the Doctor and Captain Jack type tale, in my opinion. Like, I think it would have been really refreshing to see him. You never really see them two alone together, really.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even, a side story with just Captain Jack himself, because I really think we never saw enough of that character.
I agree.
I mean, I know he moved over to Torchwood. Do you know Torchwood is an anagram for Doctor Who? That blew my mind.
That blows my mind as well. Really?
Yeah.
It is as well? Oh my god. That's so weird.
That blew my mind.
But it's a great name, isn't it? Torchwood.
Yeah, like I had no idea, because that just sounds like, you know, ubiquitous, like with a secretive organisation.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But I guess that's just because it's been baked into our brain by that show.
I actually didn't realise that the Captain Jack character was like introduced way back in like 2005 with the Christopher Eccleston one. Like it was that long ago.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I thought it was I was associated with the David Tennant era, but it's not.
Yeah, because I just remember you know, the face of Bo in the Cassandra episode.
Yeah.
That, I mean.
That twist.
That's crazy. I mean, I always forget about that, you know, when I think, oh, that character doesn't have a lot of depth, and then I'm like, well, they've showed his like fate of him being, you know, a Time Lord living presumably thousands of years, and then it's kind of like a, you know, maybe Christopher Nolan was taking notes whenever he did the what a nice first name, Robin.
Yeah,
you know, it was all like that when he's like, oh, the kids used to call me Bo.
The face of Bo. Yeah, I know, it's weird. Like, the one thing
funny you mentioned that, the you know, you've known the Doctor for years, it's funny that you mentioned it on the day that he met someone called the face of Bo.
I know, literally. Like, the one thing I will say about the David Tennant era, as we're talking about broadly, like, I know you've said maybe, like, you're not a huge fan of the arcs, but I actually think it balances, like, the arcs with individual episodes really well. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but like every episode has its place. Like every episode links to another episode, kind of. And like the thing about Doctor Who is it's kind of like Black Mirror in the sense that you can go any direction you wanted with the show. Pretty much, I mean, with time travel and space travel, you could do anything. That's probably why it's so successful. That's why I like this episode as well, because obviously like a lot of creative thoughts been put into it for a start as well, and it's not like your typical Doctor Who Christmas special either. Like there's a lot, because obviously it's a Doctor on his own as well, which is quite refreshing. But I don't know, I just thought it has a warm place in my heart, this one for sure.
Do you have anything further on it?
Nothing for me, mate. What would you give out of 10?
Well, I would say enjoyment. It was some, like, the Doctor Who never claims to be Doctor Who never claims to be intelligent. You know, are you agreeing here?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, like I think it's just, you know, switch your brain off fun. And I felt myself doing that in this episode.
I thought you meant the character. Whereas
I feel like the show, in a positive sense, is accessible to anyone. So it doesn't get dragged. Yeah, it doesn't get dragged down with like wanky, overinflation of its intelligence.
Yeah. But yeah, like with the Doctor, like, you know, he says really empowering stuff, and then there's like sparks going on behind him and stuff. The score swells up. Like it is pretty funny as well. But it's quite a. It doesn't pretend to be something that it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was to assess its quality, I would say it's probably the lowest of quality of the things that we've covered today.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's one that I enjoyed more than. I think you've swayed me. I enjoyed it more than Home Alone 2.
Really?
But I would still say my top pick is the one that I still enjoyed the most on rewatch. But I would give the film a 9 out of 10.
That's good. I have to go with the same. I have a lot of nostalgia for this one, and it's definitely probably one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes for sure. Now, do you
have someone text?
No, it's okay. I just got my gremlin notes up as well.
Okay.
Now, your favourite film?
Yes.
Well, not favourite.
My favourite
Christmas film. Gremlins. Now,
I'm repping the merch.
He's repping the merch.
You know, I was concerned going back watching this film that the quality in my mind might decrease because I've invested in a lot of merchandise. As you've seen before, I had my Gremlins mug. I have my Gremlins
lovely
Christmas hoodie.
Absolutely.
I have jumper. I have Gremlins pajamas to wear this evening.
Love it.
To go to bed for Christmas morning.
Love it.
So I've invested a lot in this, and I was really worried.
So good.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
It's still so good.
This is my second viewing of this, and it's only gotten better. It is incredible.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I watched this was geography class 2016. Miss, I'll not give her her name.
Okay.
But our geography teacher had put on this movie at Christmas, and it's just so good, isn't it?
How old were we then? 14?
We're like
it's
14.
a 15.
It's 15.
Yeah. Shame on her.
Yeah, well, we'll not disclose what school we went to.
No.
Just think we don't want legal action. You
Yeah.
know, God forbid. But no, this film is so good, isn't it? It's classic Spielberg. That's not Spielberg, is it? He produced it.
He produced it.
Fuck's sake. It's classic.
Chris Columbus.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the director.
Nah, me neither.
It's Joe something.
It's Joe something.
I should know.
It's very 1980s, which I like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a theme in mind that, you know, Chris Columbus is partially or if not fully responsible for each of the projects I chose. But I think it needs to be said. There's a lot of dumb characters in this film. And, you know, I'm happy to, you know, point out any flaws within this film.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how cute you think the Mogwai is, how dumb are you after hearing the warning to still buy it? Like,
yeah.
You know, if you're like, oh yeah, there's this dog, but you know, if you feed it the wrong kind of food, it will kill you and your children.
Yeah. It will kill the world.
It's just so dumb.
Yeah, no matter how cute Gizmo is, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to say here. And that being said, I think the use of practical effects here, while it's so noticeable, but that plays into the charm so well. Like, it doesn't pretend to not be practical effects.
Yeah, and I think sort of The Mandalorian has kind of replicated that with the child, because they have what is clearly a puppet doing very rigid movements, but that kind of just makes it look cuter. Yeah, because if it was weird and flowy and like had like long spindly legs, like you wouldn't be bothered if also like. You couldn't do CGI well back then.
No, you couldn't.
Don't even try.
Yeah. The thing is with this film, it might have the character I dislike the least out of every film so far this year.
Dislike the most, you mean?
Mrs. Deagle.
Mrs. Deagle. I presume you were happy with her death.
It was hilarious. It was pretty good. It was a good death.
We'll talk about it. But
she's a...
Okay, I mean, I feel like I've encountered a fair like that's a very realistic human villain, you know, because I feel like someone knows someone like that, you know, who just has an issue with everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like, you know.
I know this is your movie, so I don't want to take away too much of what you're saying, but like I think...
Is this my decision? Like, you know, we have equal notes on it?
I think this film is such a great mix of so many genres. Like, it does comedy, it does sci-fi, it does horror, it does Christmas so well. Like in some instances, like obviously it's not like an overtly scary film, but like to a kid this would scare me.
Yeah.
I think that's intentional. Like, was it a 15?
Yeah,
Like,
it's 15. I probably saw it as quite a young
It's
child.
probably a horror film in some genre. You could argue it's a horror film.
I would have to say so, and I think this film goes very unappreciated. But you know, in spite of that, I think the 3 rules for the care of the Mogwai is maybe like one of the biggest like iconic staples of film knowledge.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Like, you know, you go to any trivia night, they're gonna ask you about those rules.
100%.
You know, like it's just so integral to sort of the narrative of Hollywood these days.
No, it is, and like I think that's the thing. Like the great use of practical effects on the Mogwai and then the Gremlins. Like the Gremlins they actually look terrifying. Like have you ever seen the film with Kirsten Dunst, like Small Soldiers?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so good. But like it does practical effects mixed with CGI and it doesn't really work.
No.
Here the practical effects look incredible on both Mogwai, Gizmo and Gremlins. Like it's so good, so good.
I have to say about the character of Billy, he goes fairly undeveloped throughout the character. Sorry, he goes as a fairly undeveloped character throughout the film, but I think that works perfectly because I feel like he's sort of a blank canvas for the viewer to project themselves onto, to put themselves in a situation.
I love what you said.
Because you know,
love that.
I think when you go with sort of this if you go with a one-dimensional character and they're meant to be somebody and they're the main character and it's about them.
Yeah.
You know, and the film is about the world reacting to them,
Yeah.
and they're underdeveloped. That's just a poorly conceived narrative.
Agreed.
But here, this is just a normal guy, like a perfectly average normal guy, reacting to the main stars of the film, which are the Gremlins. So I don't think he needs much to mention.
I love what you said there, buddy. To be honest with you, it's not like the Billies or anything like that. It's the Gremlins. You know what I mean? Like it's. I would argue there's not the human characters aren't the main characters. There's not one human character that I would say is the main character.
No, like they're pretty inconsequential. You know, there's a romantic subplot, but you know, maybe comprises of three scenes.
It's definitely a subplot. Yeah.
You know, there's nothing overt about it. You know, we've talked about Elf, and I would say the romance with him and Jovi is probably balanced with sort of the
absolutely
the kid fun elements of it.
Yeah, like I think what makes this film so charming is that it kind of reminds me of like Stranger Things. Kind of reminds me of this show. And it's a very similar tone, and I think all the human characters, even though they're not the main characters, like the Billy and Kate romance is actually quite sweet. I actually quite like it, and like the way it mixes that in with the Gremlins, it's sort of I don't know what it has like a special quality to it where like it's so rare having like a live action movie featuring humans to not have humans be the main character. Kind of like Planet of the Apes, but even then the apes feel like real humans in that film.
Yeah.
Here the Gremlins obviously don't because they don't really speak, but I don't know. It's just such a great comedic movie as well.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many funny times where I think Billy his dad is an unsuccessful inventor, so you know you get comedy from Gizmo and other gizmos. So I get that humor as well, and I don't know. It's just it subverted my expectations as well because you sort of think like we sort of mentioned about the lack of human main characters. You think that Billy's dad is going to be the main character because he narrates the opening of the film, but he's barely in it.
Yeah, he's in probably 4 scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved that sort of complete subversion. And you know, you sort of mentioned the romance, and it is I think just brief to mention because it's
not much.
Basically non-existent in this movie. But you know, I loved everything about Billy. I found everything he did so endearing. Even the way he asked her out, because he wasn't too awkward, but he wasn't too confident. I really felt like I saw myself in him.
Absolutely. I mean, like you sort of said, but I love what you were saying there. Like he's a blank canvas which the viewer paints himself onto or herself onto. Like it's so rare that you get that these days, to be honest. And I think this film definitely has a lot of rewatchability to it. Like I don't know if there's a sequel to it.
There is. It's called Gremlins 2: The New Batch, which I assumed it was. I haven't seen it, but I assumed until I found out today that it was one of those kind of situations where you know they keep like the concept and the Gremlins, and that's sort of the only thing like keeping it a sequel to the film.
Okay.
But it actually has Billy and Kate carry over into it, which completely surprised me because I thought it was going to be more like a Jurassic Park situation where maybe they move on to a secondary character from the first film or an entirely new cast, and the only thing they kept is the Gremlins. But I was completely surprised to find out they actually kept Billy and Kate.
One thing I think we could say about all the films that we brought up today, like our favourite Christmas films, is what makes them special is you can watch them not at Christmas time.
Yeah.
This film is a Christmas film, but you cannot watch it at Christmas time. Voyage of the Damned, you can watch it whenever. And to a certain degree, Home Alone 2 and Elf as well have that quality. Maybe less so Elf, but Home Alone 2 certainly you can watch not at Christmas time.
Because it's really just a crime film.
This film is like so many genres, but it works so. I'm actually amazed it works so well. Like,
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's for so many genres, like it works for so many ages as well. I think you can be like our age, even younger, and enjoy it. You can be older. You can be middle aged. Like it's for everyone. That's so well done.
I mean, it's a creature horror. It's like The Thing. You can watch that at any point during the year, but the family's completely unfazed by the idea with water the Mogwai multiply.
Yeah.
So that sort of leads me to believe that it's in at least one of the universes that Steven Spielberg established in his films where weird shit has gone down, and that's sort of just that's normalized, weird stuff happening. So like in my mind, like this is the world of E.T. or it's the world of something where something bizarre happened, because they're just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he like Billy takes him to his I guess his old high school science teacher, because I just assumed he was a doctor, but then he has like small children in his
Surely
class.
he's breaking some kind of regulations there.
Yeah, and then he calls him like Mr. something, so he's not even a doctor.
Yeah. One thing, you certainly know what you were saying there, buddy. Like one thing about this picture is that when you're going through the film, you sort of expect obviously that Mogwai is going to turn into the Gremlins at some stage, of course, given that the titular characters. But one thing I sort of expected, that I sort of was thinking, obviously there's a lot of Gremlins here, but like imagine like if one of them fell into the ocean or the pool, like you'd be fucked. And I'm glad the film actually acknowledges that, and that happens. Like,
yes.
I think it's Stripes or someone, or one of the Gremlins falls into the pool, and then there's like hundreds of these Gremlins. Like, obviously they're not the most physical.
And then Billy just commits a terrorist attack to get rid of them.
Yeah, literally. And he like blows up a cinema.
He blows up a cinema.
Like, obviously, they're not the most physically intimidating creatures, but like they look terrifying. Like in a swarm of hundreds of them.
I mean, they kill four
people. They kill a lot. Yeah, they kill a lot of people as well. And it kind of got me thinking, like, I'm glad the film sort of carried through in that act and sort of showed the danger of it. Like, it could have got much worse.
Yeah. Like I honestly can't exactly pinpoint what about this is amazing.
I'm saying,
but
like,
so
good.
I'm just like, I just love everything about it. Like that's all that I can say. I couldn't be like, oh, it's the performance of this person, it's the music of this person that really makes that. The Graduate, I gave it 10 out of 10. It's one of my favorite films of all time. But I could easily tell you it's the music, it's Anne Bancroft. That's why I love that movie.
Here's
hard. I think what did I like about this film? I just don't think she's a bad enough person to deserve that violent a death.
Yeah, it was very overly violent for a kid's film, wasn't it?
Because I mean, she's just like she's just a Karen,
yeah. No, she is.
The dog destroyed her property. She complained about that. Someone wasn't paying their bank payments. She said, "I'm not going to help you." Not. So she's like not a generous person, and she's a bit rude.
Also, is Billy allowed to bring
give her a violent death?
Is Billy allowed to bring his dog into the bank?
Oh, surely not.
Surely not.
Like I feel like most of her complaints are justified. They're just rudely rudely dictated. Mm-hmm. So I feel like with a change of attitude, she could be.
Her death was brutal. It was very like Final Destination, wasn't it?
It was horrific.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was horrific.
She just didn't seem like a terrible enough person for me to celebrate
that's
her
fair.
death.
I respect. No, I respect it.
Yeah,
sure.
And I would say this film has one of the most tragic backstories of a character that I've ever seen, and it's one that sticks in my mind whenever I think like tragic character death, tragic backstory. Mm-hmm. And it's the death of Kate's dad falling down the chimney and snapping his neck.
Yeah.
I feel terrible for Kate. Her dad seems like the architect of his own death.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah.
Middle-aged man, probably not in the best condition.
Yeah.
Stuffing himself down the chimney.
What are you doing, mate?
You'd either expect at least to get stuck / death. What is the best case scenario there? Like
snapping an neck.
I would say no middle-aged dad is slipping down the chimney.
Unless you're Santa, of course.
Yeah, I don't think I could fit down the chimney.
No, I don't think I could either. But you gotta feel bad for the character, but you gotta. It's a little bit funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sort of like her, because her performance isn't fantastic, and she's kind of like forlornly looking into the middle distance, and Billy isn't paying any attention to her, and she's telling this tragic backstory, and you kind of want to laugh because it's so dumb that the guy thought he could fit down the chimney, and you're like, that's terrible. I feel terrible for your character, but it's funny.
Yeah, you definitely.
Because it's not real life, we can laugh.
Exactly.
So it's fine.
Exactly.
And you mentioned the practical effects earlier, and I think the highlight of that is like all the gooey bursting out of the cocoon stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
it's gross, and like the close up where they're all eating the chicken thighs.
Oh,
it's vile.
It is vile.
But I think it's really like visually. I mean, for vegetarians, I guess that adds the horror elements.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, I was just like, that's disgusting, and it added to the fact that they were going to become sort of gruesome, disgusting creatures.
Absolutely.
The film ends with Gizmo being taken away by his previous owner.
I love that.
And
I felt bad.
you love the fact that he
bad
gets
for
taken
Billy.
away.
But then I think what's his name again? The guy who takes him away. The
I
owner?
think it's Mr. Ling, but he's credited as grandfather. Like they do say his name, but I watched the credits and it's just grandfather.
We'll go with Grant. When the owner takes him away, I kind of felt bad for Billy, but
We'll go with Pa.
We'll go with Pa. Yeah, we'll go with Pa. Like I felt bad, but then I think his message is right. Like this family definitely isn't ready for the responsibility.
Yeah.
So that's probably fair enough, and it doesn't close the door. And I think this is one of the few movies where like a remake or like a sequel, like a sort of Ghostbuster style, would probably work.
Yeah, where Billy has the chance to prove himself, and I think that is what the second film is about. But they take him away, and it's sort of a dire note. But it remains still too upbeat for the fact that they're responsible for the death of 4 people.
4 people, yeah, exactly. Which probably in that town happens like once every decade or something.
Because I would say if they just took ownership and it just happened, I don't think they would be responsible.
Yeah.
But if they were told the rules and they broke the rules, they are then responsible.
Yeah, like
I know that the gremlins tricked them, by getting
the
fed.
clock.
Yeah, by breaking the clock and getting fed after midnight. But you should have been so vigilant. Like those rules are so specific. But to be fair, I guess they should have been told why they needed to follow the rule.
Yeah.
Like because you don't really know the severity. Like you're told plenty of things when taking care of pets that people just ignore.
That's true. It's like feeding a dog chocolate. Like
yeah, it is poisonous for some dogs, but them saying every dog who eats chocolate will die is probably inaccurate. It may poison every dog, but I'd say most don't die. Don't trust me.
Ollie did eat like 12 Easter eggs one Easter, and he was true story.
I
know he wasn't fed them. He burgled.
Like big Easter eggs.
I think so. Maybe that's just the genes.
Why did you have so many lying around?
just I don't know. But yeah, I don't have any remarks on the film yet. Have you got anything from yourself?
No, nothing further from me.
I'd love to hear your rating. I think it's going to be a good one.
I don't think I can say anything other than it's a 10.
It has to be, like I'm not saying.
It's my favorite Christmas film by far. Like I really thought my opinion would change, but it remains my favorite Christmas film. I think it might shoot up into some of my favorite films of all time, just because I think Billy is the perfect protagonist. Because if you can't see yourself in a protagonist, what's the point? Exactly. I mean, I think obviously as a young white male, that might be just my experience. I'm sure there are other people who maybe didn't see themselves, but I would say
he's an everyman character.
Yeah, I would say he's an everyman character in the he's like sort of he's going after the girl. He's working sort of a
job that he doesn't really like.
Yeah, a job that he doesn't love. I was gonna say dead end job, but I suppose if he's making money, it's not a dead end. But I feel like it's a character everyone can relate to.
Exactly.
But I could actually see myself. So for me, he was a perfect protagonist that reflected me. I thought the romance was not it was organic, but they didn't spend too much time on it. And they knew exactly what this movie had to be, and that it's a creature film. So they spent enough time on the creatures. They didn't waffle.
Exactly.
And it's a tight hour and 40, and it felt really satisfying.
Great pacing as well. We didn't really mention.
Fantastic.
And decent editing as well. Like and I think for me it has to be a 10 as well, which is the highest rating I've given today. But it's definitely up there with my favorite Christmas film for sure.
I mean, again, the best film doesn't have to be your favorite.
Yeah, like this is definitely quality wise like the most consistently good I think today. So, but yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good podcast, hasn't it?
It's been fun. It's been fun to record.
Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned later on for our Wonder Woman 1984 review. We're going to do on spoilers and then non-spoilers as well. But thanks so much today, buddy. Appreciate it. It's been good. It's been weird recording, but it's kind of felt natural at the same time.
I think we eased into it, and we'll hopefully be back with this technique when our lockdown ends.
Absolutely.
In 6 weeks, provided everything's
for birthdays,
everything's all clear. Provided it's all good and legal for us to continue doing this.
Absolutely. Well, listen. Hope you guys have a good Christmas and a happy New Year. Same goes to yourself, brother. And take care, guys, and bye bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.